Secrets with so bold, stories untamed, let the plot unfold. Click that button, join the run. Videos bright as the morning sun. Laughs and thrills, it's all cascade. Welcome to the world of Unfornicated. Every clip's a wild surprise. Through the screen we touch the skies. Unfornicated's got the groove, always fresh, always on the move. Come along, don't hesitate. This channel's fire, no need to wait. Content's blazing, hearts elated. Your next obsession, Unfornicated. So like and sub, don't be misled. Dream big here at Unfornicated. We're here to shine, no masquerade. Stay a while in Unfornicated. Come along, don't hesitate. This channel's fire, no need to wait. Content's blazing, hearts elated. Your next obsession, Unfornicated. So like and sub, don't be misled. Dream big here at Unfornicated. We're here to shine, no masquerade. Stay a while in Unfornicated.
Click the lies the way they fall. Break the chains, expose it all. Truth, the light that paves the way. Gonna clear the mess today. Unfornicated and bold and true. We're digging deeper, we're cutting through. Misinformation don't stand a chance, and the light will take a stand. Falsehoods crumble brick by brick. We're too sharp, too quick to trick. Streaming in loud, our fearless shout. We'll burn the nonsense from inside out. Echo chambers can't confine. We're the seekers, drawing lines. Flipping stories one by one. Battle's hard, but we've begun. Unfornicated and bold and true. We're digging deeper, we're cutting through. Misinformation don't stand a chance, and the light will take a stance. Light it up, let the truth ignite. In the dark, we'll spark the fight. Unfornicated, keep on strong. Debunk the myths where they don't belong. Falsehoods crumble brick by brick. We're too sharp, too quick to trick. Streaming in loud, our fearless shout. We'll burn the nonsense from inside out. Light it up, truth won't fade.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? Thank you for joining me on another Sunday night. Usually we do Saturday night, but tonight's Sunday. Tonight actually is a little bit weird. I had planned on streaming regardless, but it was going to be something like more like testing some Stream-a-thon aspects for what I'm trying to do for the Critical Think Stream-a-thon. But then I got roped into some Derp. So we are going to be addressing that instead. Well, good news is I have plenty of time to sort out the other mess. But let's sort out this mess tonight, shall we? All right. Let's get a little started here. I'm still getting situated. I apologize. Dog's got her bone. She ran off to another room. She might come in whining for me to hide it for her so she can find it in 5 minutes, whichever. All right. As we always do, let's talk about real quick some housekeeping rules. Oh, not housekeeping rules, housekeeping, so to speak. Real quick. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Excuse me. For a moment, I was all set up, ready to go, except for this aspect right here, because I wasn't planning on doing housekeeping. Go figure. All right. Let's see. Quick housekeeping. For those who know this by now, we've gone over it many times. Since Memorial Day up until Veterans Day, we are doing a Code Breakers collection. It's been dropped. It includes teas, coffee mugs, travel mugs, and hoodies. All proceeds from this collection will be matched dollar for dollar on stream on Veterans Day and donated to the Native Americans Veterans Association. Again, dollar for dollar, penny for penny. If you order something, I get the email. I put it to a spreadsheet. I will show you guys the receipts from my dashboard. I'll also show you my spreadsheet. It's nothing special. And then we will, then we'll go on the website and I will make a donation live on camera so you guys can see that I'm not full of shit. So it's only my daughter's college fund. So don't worry about it. It's no big deal. All right. So let's just kind of get started with tonight. I'm trying to think if there's any other housekeeping I need to go into. I'm a little scattered right this second just because I was in a mad rush trying to get some last minute information for this stream from some people with actual experience. And while my geologist friend happens to be on vacation in an island in the Caribbean and otherwise unavailable, there was a biology aspect I wanted to go over. And luckily, I have a nurse practitioner in the family who can help with that. And I happen to have a neighbor who is a JAG lawyer because while I'm not necessarily under arrest for anything, she provides some key insights on a court case. Now, you might be wondering what the hell is biology, court case, and all those have to do with everything. Well, that's why you're here, right? All right. So let's start the shit show. Thank everybody for being here. Oh, you know what? I'm probably going to be trimming this probably for either a network. Jeez. It's been a rough day. I'm probably going to be trimming this for a weekly STD report or a debunk video. So we're just going to break into my normal intro so I can cut out all this other bullshit and we'll go back into this. So you guys get 2 intros for the price of 1 today. So for your admission, you get 2 intros. Don't worry, we're not going back to the title screen, music, and all that fun stuff. So there we go. I have to pull up my notes here or find them in my screens. You notice that if you, just quick aside, you notice you can have, like, I have 3 screens and one's really small and it's just for my OBS overlay. But I realize I could use another, and I probably, if I have 3 screens, I could probably use another. So pretty soon it's just going to be a wall of screens in front of me and it's going to be atrocious. But since no one actually sees that side of it, I don't know, maybe I'll take you guys on a tour around it one night, one day or something. Let's see what it's. Yes, Foxworth, at the low, low price of free for admission tonight. Steel City wants to wish good luck on our stream. We're all counting on you. Like I said earlier, if the fate of the free world is depending on my stream, we're fucked. So let's get on with this. What's up, brain cells? Welcome to Drop the Dumb, Bring the Rum, episode 3. Now, this is a stream where the drinks are strong, I hope, and the conspiracies are weak, as usual, and we treat bad science like a piñata. I am your host, Dano, your resident heckler, your bartender of bullshit, who just so happens to be serving up the pseudoscience for tonight's entertainment. You guys enjoy it. And I'm probably the only guy on YouTube who thinks rum pairs perfectly with debunking. Now, before we dive face first into this dumpster fire of tonight's nonsense, let's take a second to acknowledge our usual suspects in chat, the Zoo Crew, who is holding it down, keeping the chaos lively. You maniacs always show up loud and rowdy, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And if you happen to be one of the new folks who were intrepid enough to stumble into this stream, well, then, welcome to the circus. And congratulations. You officially joined the only live stream where conspiracies get less respect than a gas station sushi platter. So, as I said, this is Bring the Rum, Drop the Dumb, where we roast conspiracies, drink irresponsibly, and yes, every once in a great while, we actually learned something. So glad you made it. Grab a seat, pour a drink, and let's start on fucking tonight's topic. Well, and just what is tonight's topic? I'm glad you asked. Tonight, we're talking about primary water. It's the geological equivalent of thinking your toilet flushes straight into Atlantis. There's this magnificent specimen of human delusion named Joe Gilberti, who claims he's discovered magical, Jesus-blessed, meteor-unlocked, antioxidant-infused, cancer-curing, pandemic-ending, world peace pipeline water that big government has been hiding for 40 years. I think I got them all. And before you think I'm being hyperbolic here, I'm reading this directly from his website. So, but this isn't just harmless internet crazy. This is weapons-grade stupidity that's actively harming communities dealing with real water crises. So today, we're not just debunking this horseshit. We plan on leaving a crater where this theory used to be. So what about this theory makes it prominent enough to tackle tonight things? Well, see, there's a channel called Ironwork 92,000 who has never met a conspiracy that he didn't fall in love with. And for about the past, I don't know, 2 to 4 weeks, I lost track, every one of his live streams has been about this injustice that has been that this gentleman, Joe Gilberti, is suffering, that he's in jail for 15 years for what? Now, according to Vlad, it is because he's been trying to bring this, for lack of a better term, holy water to the masses. And the government can't have that. So we're going to throw him in jail for 15 years. Now, the discerning ones of us might actually look at that and think, there might be something there. Maybe we should look into it a little more. But no, not your conspiratard accounts. Those go balls deep into this mess. So, let's kind of get into this a little bit. Let me introduce you to your water wizards. Welcome to Stephen Rice. Our story begins with Stephen Rice. From 1898 to 1985, a German-American who called himself a geophysicist with about as much scientific credibility as a homeopathic dilution of actual experience or expertise. Reese claimed that Earth was cooking up brand new water from hydrogen and oxygen like some kind of geological easy-bake oven. According to this genius, the Earth is literally shitting out unlimited fresh water deep underground. And this water is separate from the usual water cycle, you know, the kind that you learned in elementary school because fuck meteorology, apparently. It's virtually unlimited. It solves water scarcity with power of wishful thinking. Big science is suppressing it because they hate solving problems, obviously. And here's the kicker. Reese wasn't a complete fraud. Now, the bastard actually did find water in dry places, so credit where credit's due. But his explanation as to why he found water was more wrong than pineapple on pizza. So we go from Stephen Reese to the modern messiah, our Florida man extraordinaire, Joe Gilberti. So he's a civil engineer who designs land developments that has somehow appointed himself the prophet of primary water. That's like me calling myself a brain surgeon because I know how to put a Band-Aid on a cut. Now, from his website, which is gilbertibluegold.com, this man literally claims endless antioxidant spring water to the tap has been hidden by the EPA and NASA for 40 years. But wait, it gets better. Blue gold ends pandemic, brings world peace. The Yucatan meteor impact gives access to secret H2O. It's Jesus's endless blue gold waters. This reads like someone threw darts at a corkboard covered in buzzwords, conspiracy theories, and biblical references, because it's not science, it's a BuzzFeed quiz titled, "Which elemental conspiracy theory are you tonight?" So let's start with the legal shit show. And here's where it gets fucking beautiful. Gilberti isn't just wrong about water. He's got a legal history that reads like the greatest hits of frivolous litigation. I mean, it starts with professional fuck-ups. Disciplinary action by his own engineering board in 2017 and 2018. Multiple federal court appearances from 1995 to 2024. But wait, why not 2025? Well, that's because he's a convicted felon and serving 15 years. Well, for what exactly we'll come back to, but let's just say it's a nice guy. So official court document proceedings to rant about pedophile rings instead of, engineering. So this greatest hits album includes that during his engineering board case, this lunatic wasn't concerned about his professional certification. He was filing court proceedings on Disney and Trump running pedophile rings because that's totally relevant to water engineering. He was also filing court cases for the Boston bombing conspiracies involving President Obama and Navy SEALs. Florida officials hide water to fill cancer centers. What the actual fuck? And then he filed federal lawsuits against the president, CIA, Pentagon, and BlackRock. But that's not all that's on the list, but we'll come back to that. He also made a video about how 9/11 was the government's attempt to collapse water in New York City and hide primary water sources. Because apparently jet fuel can't melt steel beams, but it can hide underground rivers. This is your brain on conspiracy theories, folks. When you can't separate water engineering from QAnon fever dreams, maybe, just maybe, your scientific credibility is shot to shit. What do you think? So let's go a little bit in depth here. And before we get to the science, let's talk about this legal shit show. Now, due to a channel benefactor who may or may not want to be named, so I won't, we have, a background check bought and paid for, courtesy of the website Forewarn. Now, what this gives you is a list of phone numbers, list of addresses. No surprise, his list of addresses are longer than, well, most military members who served more than 20 years in the military. And possible criminal infraction records based on names. Mr. Gilberti here has 106. That's a lot. So, what are some of these criminal infraction records? Well, we got fraud for false statement, unlawfully file a false document. We have a violation of parole for written threats to kill or injure. We have an out-of-county warrant, marijuana possession, but not more than 20 grams. That's just for his personal use. We have some unavailable ones, including sentence, but I mean, we can kind of go through those, but I mean, why look at them when there's 100 other ones to look at? Violation of patrol for written threats to kill or injure. Aggravated stalking. Written threat to kill or do bodily injury. He's done this so many times, they've actually changed the name of the ordinance he's breaking. Threatening or harassing phone calls. Aggravated stalking. Written threats to kill the recipient. Threatening or harassing phone calls. Violation of parole, written threats to kill or injure. Violation of parole. Oh, same one. First degree misdemeanor of stalking. Third degree felony. Fraud for false statement. Do you see where this is going? Now, I could match up all these court cases and dates and everything else, but you know what? I think we get an idea. So, with this kind of information in mind, I guess the real question is, are we talking about somebody who is being jailed and suffering an injustice because he's trying to bring free water to the world? Or are we talking about an asshole who has anger control issues, who threatens people, stalks people, and otherwise makes a nuisance community meeting, whether it's a school board, a classroom, or a city ordinance board? I think the evidence kind of speaks for itself. What do you think? UK debunks. Thanks for being here. I'm sorry if it's lagging a little bit. I have everything turned off today, but we do have kind of storms in the area, so good luck, I guess. We'll see how it goes. My apologies. Curious. It's been great to see you. Hit me up in the morning. We can talk about it more if you like. So, let's see. So now that we covered all of this legal shit show, let's just call it what it is. Maybe this could be taken as a character assassination, even though there's evidence, right? I'm doing a hit piece. And I'm only doing a hit piece because Joe Gilberti is over the target, right? This is what the conspirators seem to think. Well, that would be the case if we just said, that's a stream, pack it up, we're done for the night. But no, that's not how we do it here. How do we do it here? Well, we talk about science. So let's serve up this piñata, shall we? So actual science, the thing that evidence and peer review instead of YouTube comments and crystal healing. Yeah. So groundwater 101 for the adult version, okay? The source is precipitation, rain, snow, that wet stuff that falls from the sky. Okay. That water soaks into dirt and rock, like common sense into a flat earther's brain, slowly and against resistance, because it's full of resistance. Then there's movement, which follows actual physical laws like gravity, pressure, Darcy's law, not the secret. Age, deep groundwater can be older than your grandmother's racist Facebook post, but it still came from the fucking surface. But what about juvenile water? Have you ever heard of this? Well, yeah, there's something called juvenile water, water that's birthed from volcanic processes. But it exists in amounts smaller than, well, most tax return payments. And it's found mainly where the earth is literally vomiting lava, not the biblical floods these water prophets are claiming. So it's also chemically different from these miracle wells actually produce. So when we talk about chemical differences, we're talking about the isotropics, right? So juvenile water is like real Bigfoot sightings are real. They're technically possible, extremely rare, but not what these idiots are talking about. Sorry, monkey, cat, pat, pat. So the isotopic cock block, so to speak, is that water molecules have isotopic fingerprints, like DNA for H2O, that tells you exactly where the fuck it came from. Now, this is devastating because every single well claimed to be primary water shows the same signatures, meaning it came from rain, not from some underground water factory. And what this means is that if the water was being magically created in the Earth's basement, it would have a completely different isotopic ratio, and it fucking doesn't. So, but that's just the surface. So to create water from scratch, meaning taking H2 and O, right, it requires temperatures hotter than Satan's taint. I mean, pressure that would crush a conspiracy theorist's ego, chemical conditions found deeper than these morons have ever thought. These conditions don't exist at the pathetic 200 to 500 foot depths that these wells are drilled. You need to drill into the Earth's fucking mantle to find these water-making conditions. And guess what? Don't think it's going to work there either. But now we have the government cover-up, the fairy tale, right? So when they said the government is actually covering this up, okay? Oh, so let me go back here. I got to scroll down my notes here. They're talking about the EPA and NASA. Okay. Let's think about this for 5 seconds. Okay. 5 seconds is all we're going to need. Why the fuck would NASA hide unlimited water? They wouldn't. They're literally spending billions of dollars trying to find water on Mars and the moon. Unlimited clean water would solve their biggest space exploration challenges. We could have a base on the moon. NASA would be camping on Gilberti's lawn with a rover if his pipeline were real. But why would the EPA hide it? They wouldn't. EPA's mission is clean water access. Finding unlimited clean water would make their job infinitely easier and earn them Nobel Prizes. Hell, it would earn Gilberti a Nobel Prize. This conspiracy theory makes zero sense when you think about the institutional incentives. Scientists get famous and win awards for major discoveries. They don't hide them in a bureaucratic basement like the Ark of the Covenant in an Indiana Jones movie. But now we're going to talk about the medical fraud buffet because they claim it's antioxidant water. Okay, this is quackery deluxe here. Gilberti claims his water has special antioxidant properties that provides health benefits. I mean, let's be clear. There are zero peer-reviewed studies supporting any health claims about this man's water. Zero to start with. But antioxidants in food come from specific molecules, things like vitamin C, vitamin E, and polyphenols. Yeah, okay, there we go. Water doesn't naturally contain significant antioxidants. And even if it did, most would be destroyed by your stomach acid. And then they go into claims like it fixes blood in minutes aren't just false, they're medically dangerous. They also have claims of structured water or EZ water. Okay, this stands for exclusion zone water. It's hexagonal water or structured water. These are pseudoscientific terms with no basis in chemistry. Claims that water can be restructured to flow better in the cells or carry negative charges or ions are marketing myths, not molecular reality. And then you have the alkaline miracle water, right? The pH pseudoscience for dummies. Gilberti and his disciples love to crow about the special pH of their magic water, usually something like 7.9 or higher, as if slightly alkaline water is the fucking fountain of youth. And here's some basic chemistry for those in the back of the class. Your body's pH reality check, so to speak, right? Your stomach acid has a pH of 1.5 to 2, which means it's highly acidic. Any water you drink gets immediately neutralized by stomach acid. Your body maintains your blood pH at 7.35 to 7.45 through multiple buffering systems. Drinking alkaline water doesn't change your body's pH. Your kidneys and lungs handle that. Now, the alkaline water scam itself is basically just normal drinking water. So like normal drinking water has ranges of a pH from 6.5 to 8.5. So the slightly alkaline pH of 7.9 is barely above neutral. And this is within normal range of many municipal water supplies. Baking soda mixed with tap water will give you this exact same pH. But why this doesn't matter is that your saliva alone can neutralize mildly alkaline water before it even hits your stomach. And even if it survived your stomach, which it won't, your body would correct any pH changes within minutes. There are zero peer-reviewed studies showing health benefits from drinking alkaline water. So, but we also hear about alkaline water often. We hear about we hear about electrolytes and, replenishing electrolytes after workouts and after physical events and stuff like that. Excuse me, sorry. So we're talking about marketing. These pH claims prey on people who don't remember high school. The only thing they remember about chemistry in high school is acid bad, base good. Your body needs acid, stomach acid for digestion to start with. Your blood pH is already perfectly regulated. Disrupting your body's pH balance would kill you. So when Gilberti claims his water's pH makes it special, he's either demonstrating profound ignorance of basic physiology or deliberately scamming people who don't understand chemistry. And given his track record, I'm betting on the latter. So here's the beautiful irony about Stephen Reese. When actual scientists examined his claims in the 1960s, Reese claimed that divine water generation by Gaia, secret still, creates unlimited fresh water from magical underground processes. Pixie dust, magic. A revolutionary discovery that would change hydrology forever. But what scientists actually found when they did tests and experiments, things conspirators don't want to do, the official conclusion from the California Department of Water Resources and the U.S. Geological Survey said that Reese's assertion that there are large volumes of potable primary water had been examined and rejected by hydrologists. Translation: this dude found water, but the explanation is dumber than a box of rocks, which ironically is where the water actually came from. The successful wells that Reese drilled, they were tapping fractured rock aquifers in the desert, completely normal groundwater that any competent hydrogeologist could explain without invoking magic. But what's the real world damage of all this? Well, this isn't just harmless internet crazy. This shit has real world consequences. For example, infrastructure misfires, like wastes of money on bullshit drilling projects based on fantasy geology, as in no evidence. Belief in primary water has led to wasted funds on dry wells in California. Communities delay real solutions chasing fantasy pipelines. Sound familiar? But it gets worse. Buckle up. Gilberti used Hurricane Ian recovery efforts to promote his theories. He's literally exploiting communities that are desperately trying to rebuild their water infrastructure after a natural disaster. That's not just wrong, that's morally reprehensible. It makes him an asshole. Now, there's also the health misinformation. I mean, they're promoting untested water as medicine. It misleads vulnerable people. It's the wellness industrial complex with a garden hose, potentially delaying real medical treatment. And we've heard these same people on these same channels talk about going to visit this well and drinking from it, hoping it's going to do something, as opposed to going to a doctor, as opposed to seeing somebody whose job is to do no harm and is looking out for your well-being. Now, Florida has real water management challenges that require real engineering solutions. Proven technologies that actually work are what's going to solve this problem. We're talking about aquifer storage and recovery systems, advanced desalination technology, like Tampa Bay Water's reverse osmosis plant, water recycling and treatment systems. These are found everywhere. Conservation programs with smart metering and tiered pricing also help. Integrated water management coordinating multiple sources. And we're talking about things like wetland restoration. I mean, these are boring, but they're effective. And better, they're backed by decades of peer-reviewed science. Not as sexy as Jesus's meteor water, but they actually work without requiring belief in geological fairy tales. But let's address the gullible disciples, right? Where critical thinking goes to die. This is where it gets truly fucking depressing. The army of credulous morons who've latched onto Gilberti's water fantasies without spending 5 minutes fact checking anything, or even going to the well to test it for themselves. These people have constructed an entire Jesus complex narrative around Gilberti. According to his disciples and his own website, he's fighting the government to give free water to the public. He deserves a medal for his heroic sacrifice. He's giving up $500 million to help humanity instead of bottling his magic water for profit. Oh, God. Let me break this down for you smooth brains who've fallen for this manipulation, on the chance you're actually here watching this. The $500 million sacrifice, that's mathematical masturbation. I mean, where the fuck does this number come from? Gilberti's ass? Vlad's ass? That's where. This appears to be some made-up calculation of what he could supposedly make if he bottled his magic miracle water. Here's the problem with this martyr math. You can't monetize water that doesn't exist. Well, maybe doesn't exist differently from regular water. If it were actually unlimited and magical, 500 million would be chump change compared to solving global water scarcity. It should be 10 billion. It should be 500 billion. It should be a trillion. This number is pulled from thin air to make him sound like he's making some massive sacrifice for the betterment of humanity. It's like me claiming I'm giving up 50 billion by not selling my unicorn farm. The sacrifice is only meaningful if the thing actually exists. But why do they believe him? Well, it's the fighting the government fairy tale. These people see Gilberti's endless lawsuits, and we'll come to those, as that he's a persecuted hero fighting the man. Reality check, dipshits. Filing frivolous lawsuits isn't heroic, it's harassment of the legal system and led to a bankruptcy. His own. Real scientists don't need to sue the government to publish discoveries. They use peer review. His lawsuits aren't about water rights. They're incoherent rants and conspiracy theories. When someone's heroic fight for water access includes claims about Disney running child trafficking operations, maybe, just maybe, that person isn't the Messiah you're looking for. And you might want to look deeper into his claims. This man deserves a medal, they cry. Specifically Vlad. For what exactly? For promoting debunked theories from the 1960s? For exploiting hurricane victims with false hope? Or for mixing water engineering with QAnon fever dreams? For filing so many frivolous lawsuits, he needed disciplinary action from his own professional board. The only medal Gilberti deserves is an Olympic medal for mental gymnastics. And here's the thing, this worship comes with zero verification. I mean, that's what's the most pathetic about these believers is their complete absence of intellectual curiosity. They never ask. Where are the peer-reviewed studies? What is pH? How does this pH value rate with regular water? Why hasn't any legitimate scientist confirmed this? If this water ends pandemics, why isn't the medical community interested? Because they're all in on it. Why does this discovery come packaged with conspiracy theories about 9/11? Oh, did I mention that already? That's right. He made a video at the same time of going through his board review that 9/11 was an inside job by the government. Not to sow fear. Not to get extra laws passed or anything else like that. No, it was to damage the New York City water and to hide the fact that it comes from a primary water source. Now, here's the thing. I'll pull up a map on this, but if you look, New York City has 2 tunnels. And what it does is it brings, and it's an aqueduct, underground aqueduct that brings water from upstate New York down to New York City. I live not far from it. I can literally see it going out my front door. These 2 tunnels have been open since the 1950s. And they're building a tunnel 3. Now, phase 2 of tunnel 3 is the closest one to the World Trade Center site, but that wasn't even started until 2018. So how exactly does downing the World Trade Center stop the water if it's nowhere near one of these water tunnels? It's because it's delusion. Complete delusion. So instead, they just hear free unlimited miracle water and government bad, and their brains shut off like Windows Me trying to run an app. These people aren't evaluating scientific claims. They're consuming emotional theater. The narrative hits every psychological button they have. David versus Goliath, little guy fighting the big government. Ooh. Persecution complex. They're trying to silence him. Savior fantasy. He's sacrificing everything for humanity. Free lunch syndrome. Unlimited resources with no downsides. It's not about water. It's about feeling special, informed, and morally superior to the sheep or sheeple who trust actual scientists. God, this is literally the cognitive dissonance Olympics. Whenever you point out that Gilberti's water claims have been scientifically debunked for 60 plus years, these people don't engage with the evidence. Instead, what do we get? We all know. This just proves how deep the cover-up goes. The government has been hiding this longer than we thought. They're lying to us. Of course they said that. They don't want us to have free water. God, it is the perfect closed loop of stupid. Any evidence against their beliefs becomes evidence for their beliefs. It's like trying to argue with a magic 8-ball that only gives conspiracy theory answers. Actually, that could be kind of fun. That's a stream idea. All right. Let's break down the classic pattern we see with Gilberti and primary water. Tell me if you've heard this before. Extraordinary claims without extraordinary evidence. Unlimited accident water that brings world peace. Conspiracy theories, when faced with scientific reaction, government agencies are hiding the truth. Mixing legitimate concerns with pseudoscience. Florida does have water challenges, but they don't require magical thinking. Appeal to false authority. Claims about Nobel Prize winners that don't actually endorse the conclusion. Exploitation of the desperate. Targeting communities that genuinely need water solutions. Religious manipulation, invoking Jesus and divine intervention to bypass critical thinking. Victim complex. They're suppressing me. Classic martyr syndrome. This is textbook pseudoscience, and it's particularly harmful because it exploits both environmental concerns and health anxieties. Oh, God. If Gilberti's pipeline really cured cancer, ended pandemics, and brought world peace, ask yourself, why isn't it on the cover of Nature or Time magazine? Why is it buried in a GoDaddy website with Comic Sans font? Why Does this water science come packaged with 9/11 conspiracy theories? Why hasn't he published a single peer-reviewed study in 40 plus years? Why hasn't he showed any studies? When someone's scientific theory comes packaged with pedophile ring accusations and claims about government eugenics programs, that should set off every alarm bell in your head. It's not to say there's not any truth in it, but you might want to raise your skepticism floor just a little. If someone claims they're discovered unlimited water that the government is hiding, check if they also believe in, I don't know, the moon landing was fake. 5G causes COVID. Birds aren't real, and neither are pandas. Disney runs pedophile rings. Navy SEALs orchestrated the Boston bombing. Because conspiracy thinking is like herpes. It rarely stays in just one place. God. Here's the bottom line. Okay. Primary water theory has less scientific support than astrology. Miracle wells are regular groundwater with delusions of grandeur. Isotopic evidence proves these wells are full of rainwater, not fairy tears. Stephen Rice he found water and invented bullshit explanations. The modern promoter of Joe Gilberti is mixing water claims with enough conspiracy theories to fill a psychiatric ward. The real solutions are boring ass, evidence-based hydrology and conservation. Joe Gilberti is not a persecuted scientist with revolutionary discoveries. He's a lunatic with a history of legal troubles promoting debunked theories that were thoroughly investigated and rejected by legitimate scientists over 60 years. And his frivolous lawsuits have been laughed out of court. His blue gold claims aren't based on peer-reviewed research or scientific evidence. They're based on conspiracy theories, misunderstanding of basic physics, and the exploitation of legitimate community needs. But let's talk real quick about his lawsuit. Here we have the United States Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit. Now, we're going to go through this a little bit slow. And I want you all to do me a favor. I want you to help me find out where my notes are. No, I want you to think about this for a moment as we go through this. I'm not going to pause. I want you guys to pause and think about these things as they go up. So what we're going to talk about is, here's the plaintiff. Look, it's Joseph Dennis Gilberti Jr., an individual and licensed professional engineer, versus, well, shit, the governor of the state of Florida, the Mosaic Company, Mosaic Fertilizer, Environmental Protection Agency, Sarasota County Board of County Commissioners, DeSoto County Board of County Commissioners, Hillsborough County State Attorney's Office. Wouldn't that be the Florida State Attorney's Office? Sarasota Memorial Hospital, there's one. The Peace River, Minnesota Water Supply Authority, Southwest Florida Water Management District, 72 Partners LLC, and Louis E. Rivera. Now, if you were to pull up, do a search for Joseph Dennis Gilberti versus, and leave it open, you will find numerous federal documents, and the defendants all listed include former and past presidents, every 3- and 4-letter agency in the government, BlackRock. I mean, shit, take your pick. The FBI, every state agency, everybody and their mother is listed under this. Think that's a red flag? So I'm not a lawyer. Understanding lawyerese, God, it's so difficult and a headache. But luckily, one of my neighbors is an Army JAG attorney. She is a captain in the U.S. Army and has been an attorney for a few years. She writes shit like this. So, without providing any context whatsoever, I printed this up, handed it to her, and said, do me a favor. Read over this and give me your opinion. So I took notes while she was writing. You ready for this? So besides her laughing endlessly in the middle of this, here's the other part too, by the way. Her first note is this. You see this part right here? It means he represents himself. What's the adage goes? He who represents himself has a fool for a client. Well, that was her first note. So this guy sues a laundry list of people and organizations. And his claim is that they were all in on a massive conspiracy to hide underground alkaline spring water rivers in order to increase cancer rates, cause home foreclosures, jack up utility bills, sell more medicine, and commit Medicaid fraud. Oh, and he wanted the court to tell the president and the Federal Reserve to send him $10 billion to build him a pipeline so everyone could have access to his magic water. Sorry, pause for dramatic effect and rum because I need to drink for that. I wouldn't trust this guy with $10, much less $10 billion. So here's what the court actually said in this document. So his claims are wholly insubstantial and frivolous. They compared it to one of his earlier cases where he'd made almost the exact same accusations of cancer, opioids, water bills, and conspiracies and lost. See a trend? Here's a hint. If you lose one court case, don't file a court case with the exact same premise or evidence. Oh, wait, what about evidence? He didn't provide evidence, just wild accusations. The federal courts don't even have jurisdiction when a case is this far off the rails. I guess that's what the appeal was. It was about jurisdiction and standing. In plain English, the court tossed his case in the trash because it was baseless nonsense. She's a lot nicer than I am. I guess I forgot to tell her that I swear on my streams. So here's why they dismissed it. No evidence. He did not show any factual proof, just accusations. Claims of mass conspiracies to poison people for profit were called patently without merit. And he already tried this. He had nearly identical case before, and the court said the exact same thing. No facts, just wild theories. Abusing the RICO Act. He tried to use the federal racketeering law meant for mafia and organized crime to say that all these agencies and companies were conspiring. The court said nope. The appeals court flat out affirmed the lower court's decision. In fact, they didn't even bother with a full argument because the case was so weak. They just did a summary affirmance. Legal shorthand for don't waste our time, case dismissed. So layman's terms, he accused half of Florida and the federal government of hiding magic cancer-curing water. And the court called it delusional and frivolous. He lost. Hard. They told him to pound sand. Um, so don't be a mark. Support evidence-based water policy, boring but effective. Consult actual hydrogeologist for water projects, not YouTube prophets with messiah complexes. Be suspicious of solutions that sound too good to be true, because here's a spoiler, they usually are. Run away from anyone mixing water science with PDF ring theories. And if you encounter some of these people, here's what I suggest. This is going to sound familiar. Ask for peer-reviewed studies, because they don't exist. Share the USGS findings from the 1960s. Question the conspiratorial logic. Why would NASA hide miracle water? Why the fuck is NASA involved in this in the first place? Promote real solutions. Evidence-based water management. And remember that real science doesn't need conspiracy theories, magical thinking, or lawsuits against the Pentagon. It needs evidence, peer review, and people who aren't completely fucking insane. So that's where we are tonight. The people who promote this are either scientifically illiterate or they're trying to scam you. In Gilberti's case, given his legal history and grandiose nature of his claims, I lean towards the latter. This is another case of Florida man meme. Peer review works, magical thinking about unlimited antioxidant water hidden by a government conspiracy doesn't. And it doesn't just work, it exploits people who need real solutions. And here's my final thought. When pseudoscience meets real community needs, people get hurt. Communities waste resources, real problems go unsolved. Please don't let yourself or your community fall for the primary water scam, because when someone claims to have a revolutionary discovery that mainstream science is suppressing, your first question should always be, where's the evidence? Because without that evidence, you're not looking at science, you're looking at a scam or a grift or a clout chaser with an elaborate backstory. So if you enjoyed this video, want more bullshit debunking, subscribe. For actual water science, consult a hydrogeologist, not some dude streaming about from his shed and while ranting about other things than water. Or their disciples who claim an injustice without looking into the facts. It's Unfornicated. We'll see you in the next video. So, we're still here. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Because I have more stuff to show you. But what? What more could we see? Brenda, you're absolutely right. Gilberti screams as in, I'm a private reign citizen or some shit. I'm only, how's it go? I only, the Geneva Convention is the only laws that I abide by. Even though they didn't sign them, they weren't privileged to them, and they happened long before they were born. So, yeah, I'd love to show some of these lawsuits, how they go. So let me show you some other wonderful things about Mr. Gilberti. Now, on Vlad's stream, he promotes a website called Stop the Crime. I can't believe this shit's in my search history, by the way. I'm going to be purging this shit tonight. And when we look at this, what do we see? Well, let's scroll down here. Where'd my mouse go? Here we go. Let me zoom in a little bit here. Let's see what's on this website, shall we? So we can kind of figure out what's going on. So besides all the random words at the top that are also, I don't know, like a menu of sorts, I want to show you that some of the words here also include cannibalism, the Great Reset, due patents, climate emergency, mind control, geysers, poop surveillance. Look, if you're quoting a website that talks about poop surveillance, you probably should check your sources. Yeah. Okay. What else is on this website? Oh, look, all their videos are on Rumble. There's a fun aspect of it. Let's see. Real weather warfare reporting. Yeah. Something about Hawaii. The original site, because not all the info has been transferred. I guess they can't be bothered. Source documents, which include the NASA war plan document. Now, for those who don't know what that is, it was a document that was out in 2012, I think, 2010, that talked about what they perceived warfare would be like 15 years in the future, based on current and expected technologies. There's some really special accounts who have covered this in depth. And you know what? If you want to subject yourself to that sort of self-abuse, by all means, go look it up. You'll find it. Or you can do what I do and look it up yourself and find out that a lot of the information they're presenting is bullshit. But what's the fun in that, right? World Bank documents. Oh, by the way, in the beginning, there is the donate button because why not? Force majeure. Right. Cell towers, 5G info, including cell phones, Cube, nukes, Meta, COVID, the Great Reset, zero waste, power outages, water, smart meters. You know what? Look, this is a all-you-can-eat buffet of conspiracies. And this has now just became my favorite new website. Because for a content creator, this is fucking awesome. This is the gift that keeps on giving. If, and only if, do they update it? Have anything with dates? No? Shit. Oh, well, here's one for 2016. Oh, 2014, 2014, 2014. Well, shit. All right, maybe it's not going to be my new favorite website. So, like I said, my idea for tonight was to test out stuff for the Stream-a-thon. So let's shift gears. Let's get rid of this bullshit. Okay? And let's talk about this. Hey, look, I pointed the right way. This right here. Let's talk about the Critical Think Stream-a-thon. September 6th to the 8th, based on DP's time zone. So subtract 13 and a half for me. I think it's sometime in the 5th at night or something like that. DP is still working on lineups and who's going to be involved. He's had a rough couple weeks, so we got to cut him some slack. He had to move his debunkatorium because they were going to knock his down with a wrecking ball. So, yeah, he had to move real quick. Well, let me rephrase that. He had to find a place to move to real quick and then move, which I believe is what he was doing this weekend. Now, he said something about a final cleanup. My first question was, if it's going to be bulldozed, then why the fuck do you need to clean it up? But I don't make the rules. Yeah. So, yeah, this is, let's, all right. I'm closing this website because, oh, you know what? I want to actually, hold on. Let's back up one more time. I just want to show you guys real quick. When I talk about Messiah complex, look at his banner on his channel. I mean, look at it. What the fuck is that but a Messiah complex on fucking volume 11? And he's got not one, but two channels. So we have Gilberti Blue Gold with some numbers, which has 254 subscribers, still more than me. Hopefully we'll get past him. And then we have this one, which is Gilberti, Joe Gilberti, U.S. Gilberti versus Pentagon, FBI, BlackRock. You want to guess what his videos are all about? Oh, look. He presents to the Parkland and Broward School Board. He talks to a CEO to Stantec in Canada, or tried to. Oh, look, he presents at the Sarasota County about the Vatican. Catholic Mobilizing Network. Gilberti versus the Holy See Vatican. Vatican, Catholics are bad. Catholics are bad. Oh, a Supreme Court judge. I guess he filed a lawsuit against her. Subpoenas Ashley Moody DeSantis. Guessing that's the sister-in-law to the governor of Florida, if it's still the governor of Florida. I don't keep track. Gilberti signed subpoenas on 30 judges and Florida commissioners and the FBI, and they're being served now. This is the bullshit. This is what happens when you eat lead paint. You know, Big Fish, actually, that's a valid point. It's no longer about anti-Semitism, it's about the Catholics. Unless, could there be some anti-Semitism here? Well, look, I don't know. Maybe. Let's put it this way. The local news actually had a story about him walking into his child's elementary school class and talking to the teacher about them hiding primary water from everybody in front of kids. Because that's the way to get your story out, I guess. So all of this stuff is from a year ago. There is some stuff from a month ago and 6 months ago, and I'm guessing that a lot of the more recent stuff is going to be based on stuff from his wife or something like that. I don't know where he's coming from. According to Vlad, he's in prison now for 15 years. I've been unable to kind of find where he is and what's going on with it and what the latest case was. But if it was a violation of parole, after multiple violations of parole, he's going away for a while. This right here, this first one where he presents to Parkland and the Broward School Board, that's an old video because his hair's white now, more whitish. So yeah, I'm sure most of these are older videos that are being reposted. Don't know whose lives he threatened. I'm probably going to have to, kind of look into it a little more. But um, we'll see. Um, Shifty, that's not the case. Because that's not the case at all, and you can turn around and if you look at my USS Liberty video, that is the right way to question a public narrative instead of just saying it's Israel with no evidence. There's a difference. If you just say it's Israel because of their religion or because it's Israel, that's anti-Semitic. If you don't have evidence for it, it's bullshit. Provide evidence. That's just the way it goes. In my USS Liberty, I provide a lot of evidence. And I question the government narrative. And I call out the fact it was an ambush, that Israel basically assaulted the USS Liberty and was responsible for 34 deaths and 170 some odd injuries. There is a right way and a wrong way of saying that. Just saying it's Israel, it's the Jews, it's this, without evidence, that's anti-Semitism. That's the definition of it, pure and simple. And this is anti-Catholic stuff. I'm Catholic. Am I offended by it? No, I laugh at it. Well, I was Catholic, not now, but I was Catholic. Am I offended by it? No, I don't give a shit. You know why? Because it's all bullshit. It's all fucking delusions with no evidence, nothing. It's all conjecture. It's connecting the dots. It is red strings on a fucking corkboard. Can't get past that. Okay. No, I follow you. No, I follow you, Shifty. I know where you're coming from on that. But the problem is that if anyone watches this after the fact, I want to make sure that my stance is very clear. And I'm kind of using your comment to do that. Jim Daniels, I am waiting in a list of people to get my information from my FOIA Act. So I'm still waiting because, well, I guess this channel is not big enough to warrant an expedited nature for spreading misinformation. But it's been in for 4 months. I might be in double digits now as far as the amount of requests ahead of me, I hope. I don't know, maybe I'll shoot an email later, find out about it. All right, Tori, we will catch out with you later. Leo, yes, bring evidence. And everybody does it. And they do good too. You're absolutely right. Aldebaran, you're right. The two things that Catholics have is a sense of humor and a guilty complex. All right. So now that we're done with this, let me go back to what I wanted to actually talk about, which was this thing up here. I have been racking my brain trying to come up with some things to talk about on the stream. And I originally had this idea that I want to stay within my wheelhouse. Like, I want to honor critical think. I openly admit I don't know him that well. I hope to change that soon. I hope to kind of like laud his efforts in the debunking community and what he's actually done. I hope to give him the praise he deserves for a lot of things. That being said, I don't really do measurements. So I don't want to do what he does because he's better at it. And well, I don't like demonstrating where I suck, basically. No, so but the thing of it is there's so many content creators who are part of this who have such larger channels, bigger channels, and things like that, that I purposely separate myself from doing reaction videos. It's what sells. The insulting, the calling someone stupid and debunking them in real time as you watch a video is entertaining. I don't deny it. I watch it myself. I don't personally like to do it. So I wanted to figure out something that was going to be a little different. I think I saw CC wearing a shirt in a Facebook post 2 days ago. Hey, photos or it didn't happen. Post a link, I see. That's all I got to say. Yeah, you're right. Swallow, you're right. Education does not sell. Actually, you know what? Before we start about the Stream-a-thon, Swallow is doing a couple things. I want to bring up other channels besides the big ones who are doing actual work. I'm up here ranting and raving, throwing out 4-letter words, and doing research and contacting people that I know who are experts to provide context. Some of my stuff is actually about teaching something or another. And then there's accounts that actually go out there and do things. People like Swallow. Swallow he uses everyday objects from his garage to demonstrate things of why flat Earth is wrong and how wrong it is. Swallow, actually, Swallow, you, my friend, and here's the thing. Swallow and I know each other from Twitter. Swallow, you now have a wrench. You can post your link to your channel, please. And anybody who's here who is subscribed to me, please also subscribe to Swallow if you find his information informative. The one thing I love about Swallows is that it is a quick hit. It is straight. It is a gut punch of simplicity that you can share anywhere, unlike my 9-hour fucking live streams where everyone gets lost and starts wondering what the point of it was. Let's see. Another channel I want to talk about is also part of the Critical Think Stream-a-thon is Curious UK Debunks. If you are subscribed to me, not subscribed to him, even though we're in a race, go subscribe to him too, please. He does a lot of work with the flat Earth. He does a lot of reaction videos. He also does he does a lot of stuff on TikTok, which I think we all know. God, TikTok is like the bottom of the barrel for like flat earthers, and it's comical. He had a video up today of Tron getting just bodied, manhandled, thrown in a trash can like a high school freshman from Commercial Pilots, and it was good stuff. The Copium Emporium, who used to be known as the Casual Engineer, I believe, has a lot of good information. He's kind of he's a nerd along my line. He does a lot of, he does some radar RF and some other stuff. He and I talk all the time behind the scenes. We have a lot of the same hobbies, a lot of the same kind of experiences, which is great. Which is kind of why I actually kind of make these conversations and stuff like that, is because I want to make sure that like he and I aren't doing the same shit. That'd be boring. So I'm going to get 60 seconds for that. Cool. Thanks, buddy. Dude, just put up your whole link. I know you have it. You're logged in. Go to view my channel and put up the whole link. Don't make people have to go look for it. Monkey, there is nothing wrong with 9-hour live streams where we drink too much. The problem is if someone's trying to go in there to find something and we're working in Canva trying to make up parody commercials. I don't think people come to find that mess. Yeah. But Copium Emporium is another one to go hit up. He's going to be part of the Stream-a-thon, so subscribe to him as well. He's going to start putting out some more live streams, things like that. Another one, and he may be here, may not be here. Canadian Space Advocate told me just the other day in someone else's stream that we were in that he used my Hubris Valley Ranch commercial in his live stream, and I was actually honored by that. I said, thank you. Any debunkers can use anything I put up, and I'm going to have more parodies coming out. I got sidetracked this week. Like I got hit by like a freight train, more or less. Not a literal, but a figurative one. There's just so much things going on with work, personal life, stuff like that. Just so many things. In fact, my trip to California is going to be canceled. I'm still going to take the time off. My boss and I worked out a deal to where I'm going to be off, but I'm still going to be on my phone. So if he needs me, he can reach out to grab me. But we're really, really shorthanded. One of my coworkers is out for an extended amount of time for a while. And the team as a whole is kind of small. So we're less than half the strength is what we started out to. We have a bunch of open positions we're trying to fill. So I've been busy and haven't been doing what I wanted to do. Oh, so I was going to time somebody out. It's probably going to time me out. I don't know. Can you time me out on my own channel? That'd be funny. Okay. So what I have for the Stream-a-thon, since we talked about some of the smaller channels like mine who are out there, go subscribe. Go show them support. Go watch their videos. Help them get the views that they need so the algorithm shows them some love and stuff like that. I'm not looking to monetize my channel anytime soon. If it happens, it happens. But that's just my personal preference. This is a hobby. This is something I do for fun. A secondary income, yeah, it'd be nice. But at the same time, it's, you know, this is more about, I've talked about this ad nauseum. This is more about me fighting misinformation for the benefit of my daughter, her friends, her classmates, and stuff like that. So, all right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get up for a nature break. We are going to do a, yeah, we're going to do a nature break, and we're going to be a, I need a refill. I need a drink. So we're going to put on a quick 3-minute song. I'm going to leave this channel like where it is in the scene. I could care less whether or not you see me walk away. Yeah. All right, everyone go to the bar. Get your refills. Get your water, get your popcorn. We're going to talk about Stream-a-thon when we get back, and we'll go from there.
Ironclad lies slip through screens, eyes glued to digital dreams, swallowed words, twisted schemes, in the web where falsehood gleams. Unfornicated stands tall, bathing shadows through the sprawl. Clowns in masks start to fall. Truth bleeds bright in the brawl. Red-pilled bots lost in code. Twisted minds in overload. Unfornicated decodes, shattering the fragile abode. Whispers in the endless void, chasing ghosts they can't avoid. Words born to be destroyed, reality they've never deployed. Eyes wide, truth may laugh. Unfornicated won't be bound, tearing myths from the ground.
Well, while I was in the restroom, my daughter called. So I'm sorry if you heard that in the microphone. Um, yes, Monkey, Steve's Creepy Van is another one who's also going to be on the Stream-a-thon and is also worthy of your subscription, in my opinion. But do your own research. See if you vibe with his stuff. Personally, how can you not? But it's good stuff. So, all right, let's talk about Stream-a-thon stuff real quick. Because I want to be different, because I try to separate myself from the mess that we have. Not mess. There's a lot that goes on in the debunk community, and I don't know. I like doing things differently. And one of the things I do differently is I want to make the Stream-a-thon interactive. So what we're going to do is I'm going to stick to my wheelhouse, what I know best, what I do best. We are going to have a throughout the stream, as people donate to the GoFundMe, because I'm not monetized, I can't accept super chats or anything like that, unless a miracle happens and I more than double my subscribers in the next week, or 2 weeks. It's not going to happen. So if people go to the GoFundMe and they put in their donation and they take a screenshot of their donation, of their receipt, either their email or from the website itself, and then post it into the, I'm going to make a specific channel in the Discord for this. It's only for these posts. Okay. So no conversations going on in there. Just make the post during the stream, and your name will go on a wheel. And throughout the stream, we're going to do a couple of, we're going to do a few giveaways. It doesn't matter the amount, because I don't want anyone to think that there's a certain amount you have to give, because, well, look, times are tough for most people. Okay. If you give $1, you give $1,000, you get the same amount of chances. Your name's going to go on a wheel. We're going to spin the wheel right here next to me, or maybe over here next to me. And we'll see the names come up, and you will get to pick something from the Unfornicated store. And that will be shipped to you directly from me as a prize. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to do a trivia game. It's going to be integrated with chat. It's going to be called Legit or Bullshit. Now, I think that's pretty self-explanatory, but I have anywhere from 30 to 50 questions. Well, what are these 30 to 50 questions? Well, they're not easy. And they're not going to be simple physics that we have to teach flat earthers and conspirators all the time. They're going to be based on my wheelhouse, so to speak. Some of it's going to be about the military and the U.S. Navy, things like traditions and myths and stuff like that. And some of them are going to be about science phenomena, things like photons and physics and stuff like that. There will be some of that. And again, it's just going to be some random facts that's going to be you type 1 for legit or 2 for bullshit. And when you put in your number, if you're right, you get credit for a correct answer. At the end of the trivia, whoever wins, at least one, maybe top 2, maybe top 3, will get a prize from the Unfornicated store. So, Jim, here's the thing about that. I don't know if there's a friendly competition, but as far as I'm concerned, there's a friendly competition. I want my stream or my portion of the stream to be the highest grossing, the highest amount of donations to the Stream-a-thon were to happen during my stream. That's my hope. That's my wish. I wish I was in a better state to where I can turn around and say, I will match all you guys dollar for dollar. That ain't going to happen. Because if my daughter was in elementary school, maybe, because I can make up the money later on, you know, for her college fund, but she's only 4 years away. So I got to make sure I have that ready to go. And for those who don't know, the college fund joke is a joke, but here's the thing. We are going to have giveaways. We're going to have a trivia. We're also going to do something very different that I'm playing close to the vest that I think is going to be fucking hilarious and fun. So that's what we're going for. But don't worry, there's going to be more details of that. But I want you to think of like all the random things you've done as kids that were fun and absurd and goofy. That's what our stream's going to be. The other thing is we might farm out some ideas to the chat to create a new patch design for an Unfornicated specific patch. In which case, everyone gets to throw together some sort of ideas from, you know, things like that into, let's call it a melting pot, and we throw it in AI and see what sticks. So I figured that could be fun. Not married to that idea. The two ideas I am definitely married to is going to be the one I'm not telling you about, and also the legit or bullshit, because that's like right on par for the Unfornicated brand. The other thing I'm looking at doing is going to be, I don't know, we might do some conspiracy bingo. We might do a couple other things. Actually, hold on, where's my list? The problem is I was on my laptop all day today. And not everything made it to my... thing. Yeah, I'm not mentioning that one. We are talking about that. Legit or bullshit, we got that one. Yeah, by the way, there will be a segment for subscribers who have been watching the videos. There'll be like some of my videos, there'll be some questions for there. So those will be the easy ones for those people. You know, look, if you're already subscribed, you get a little bit of a little head start. What can I say? Got to help those who supported me. We might do, oh, I know what it was. We might do a, I'm probably going to release some conspiracy parody infomercials. I have a few that I haven't worked on yet that I'm going to be working on. I think I might just sandbag them and play them during the stream. We might do some, actually, that will happen, I'm sure. The other thing I was thinking about doing is because, you know, a lot of what I do with the Declassified series on the channel is a little different to get away from the conspiracies and kind of reset. We might do some, you know, some myth busting about different military like traditions or weapons or things like that. Let's see. What else do I have? Yeah, so I figure we got like 2 to 4 hours to fill. So I have all my great ideas for 2 hours, and then I have some other ideas to fill up if I get a 4-hour window or another 2-hour window, but we'll figure it out as we go through. But yeah, that's kind of where everything's at right now. You know what? Actually, as I walked away, I realized I should have played. For those who haven't heard, you should hear that the new song by Conspiracy Music Studios called The Fallacy Machine is one that yours truly had a hand in. And in fact, hold on a second. I'm going to play it now anyway, because I haven't heard it in a while and I like it. Because one of the things that is great about it is that CMS actually calls me out for helping, and he actually used my prompt about using like a modern blues vibe and specific things that I mentioned to him in visuals or in lyrics to help him create it. So it was like something I got to help collab with. He did all the heavy work. I just had to come up with bullshit, random, absurd ideas, and he made it all work. So that was a plus. But the idea that I helped contribute to that was like hugely helpful for me. Calder, patches. When do we get our free patches? I'm waiting for them to fucking get here. They said 6 weeks, and that was roughly 4 weeks ago. So I'm hoping they get here soon. The project, so the task force tinfoil patch has been rejected by 3 vendors now. I might have to do a redesign. I'm not thrilled by that idea. In fact, I hate the idea. But if I want to get them out, I'm going to have to do it. The Code Talker ones are approved. They're supposedly working on them. They should be out soon. I'll have those back to me, hopefully, real soon. But in the meantime, I'm going to have to do a kind of a workup or a workaround with the project or task force tinfoil ones from the Antarctica ones. But everyone who said that they were going to get one, they're still going to get one. There's 18 of them. If you haven't put in your name yet, sorry. I still have the Code Talkers ones if you wanted one of those. But we'll have those up. But I want to do an Unfornicated patch because we're at 211 subscribers. That means there's 211 of you people who like to hear what the fuck I talk about, which is weird. Like, my own daughter doesn't even like listening to me. So the fact there's 211 of you guys out there is just baffling. But, yeah. So the idea is to, I don't know, I figure I'll do a patch for 250. I'm not going to get 250 patches. I'm probably going to get, I don't know, something like around 20 of them. And I will put them up for, I don't know, giveaways, something like that. We'll do that. The, no, Lindsay, I'll hit up everybody to get addresses once they come in. I was really hoping to get the Task Force tinfoil and the Code Talkers ones within a week of each other. And I was just going to sit on them, wait till they came in and work on it and send them all out together. I don't think that's going to be the luxury now. So I'm going to split them up. If you wanted a Code Talker patch, you told me you did, send me an email with your address and I'll go ahead and put those together. If you ask for a Task Force tinfoil patch, you will still get it. I'm just going to have to maybe rework the design and figure out how to do it. 3 different vendors literally just said, we can't do it. You're asking for a bit too much. This is obviously AI generated and the sewing machines aren't AI. So I get it, but I'll do my best. Hopefully there won't be many changes, but there might be a couple. But I'm thinking maybe we can design an Unfornicated patch, something that just screams what the channel is. And there we have 3 patches in one. So because of my military background, I love doing patches. I think they're great. They're not inexpensive, but at the same time, I think they're really cool. So for 250, I want to make sure I have some patches to give away. Maybe we'll do a live stream for that one. For 500 or maybe 1,000, I'm still debating on it because I'm pricing it out. I might do a challenge coin for those who make them. Yeah, Calder, they're just going to be the typical backs. They're not going to be like Velcro or anything like that. But we'll, when the patches get here, we'll sort it out. I'll go through all the emails and I'll go through all the messages on Discord and stuff like that. Make sure I got them all sorted out. But yeah, once I get those, so we'll have 3 patches made. Might be doing something else along the line with patches later on. But at either at 500 or 1,000, I'm looking at doing a challenge coin. Now, for those who don't know, let me pull up another tab here because there's something I always have are tabs. In the military, we have these things called challenge coins. Now, if you do something great, you get a command coin. And whoever's command, if you're sitting at a bar and you have challenge coins in your pocket, whoever has the lowest ranking challenge coin has to pay for the round. Simply put. Now, I don't have a command. We have this channel. So I'm thinking about designing a challenge coin for here, for this. Kind of celebrate a little bit more of my, a lot of my family history, along my personal history of being in the Navy and being about something that's tangible. So when you look at some of these and stuff like this, here's some of the pictures here. I'm trying to find one that is, hold on, let's do this. I'm just going to pull up one that is, so like, it would be something like this. There would be a heads and a tails version. There would be a fornicated heads version, and there'll be a tails version, the flip a coin. And, nothing overly special, just something to say thank you to everybody. It's going to be, it'll be something else we do giveaways for. But I might end up selling them through the store too. But if I do sell them, they're all going to be at what my price is plus shipping. That's it. I'm not looking to make a buck off it by any means. It's more or less to say thank you for the support is all it is. So I'm still kind of working on that. I have a couple of designs for it or some ideas. If you guys want me to share some ideas, I'm happy to do that. No, more likely to be brass than gold or silver. There's no value to these whatsoever. Except you could throw them at people and hopefully you get it back. But like something like this, it's, this has got a ship on it. This is the USS Halsey, which is a destroyer, number 97. So if you see, it says presented by the commanding officer, Commander Gary Cave. So this, he's a commander. This would be, his rank would be on there. And if I'm higher than everybody else or higher than at least one other person, I get to not have to pay for the round. And then on the back, it has the seal of the ship and stuff like that. So we don't really have a seal here at Unfornicated. We have a couple logos. We have a couple things that do that, but I'm going to integrate them. And we have a couple of different themes, so to speak. So just imagine this. This is kind of what I have in my head. On the head side is going to be a pirate flag. The pirate flag is going to be the red dot that you see in my avatar thing. With a skull on it, wearing a Navy enlisted hat, what we call the Dixie cup, the white one. And instead of the crossbones over it, it's going to be my rating badge from the Navy, which was this cryptologic technician, which is a feather or a quill and a lightning bolt. And then obviously you'll say Unfornicated on it. And then on the back, it's going to have, I think it might have something like rum barrels, parrots in cages, because that's what we do is we cage up the parrots of pseudoscience. And maybe a couple of the derpy, stupid things that, when you think of Unfornicated comes to mind. So that's the idea. But yeah, and they do look great on the rack. I hope to design them. I hope to have the patches up. I mean, I use a green screen right now. I'm working on a sound abatement that goes over here and some floating shelves to hopefully put up some of my stuff. So instead of the brick with the Unfornicated logo, it's going to be something like maybe an Unfornicated LED sign, the patches hanging up, things like that. So I'm still working on that. It's a thing in business. So got a couple things planned for Stream-a-thon. We got a couple things planned for thank yous to the community and their support and everything else. So Monkey, I know you are like my t-shirt guy. You're the guy I go to for my t-shirts. Not to say you can't design other things. I don't know what I want yet. That's the problem. Because I have so many ideas of what I want to put on like a coin or a patch. I have to kind of pare it down. I have to kind of figure out what is, like, I almost have to ask you guys, when you hear the channel Unfornicated, or you see that I released a video, what comes to mind? Like, what instantly visual representation comes in your head that says, that's what that is? Like, when you think of Unfornicated, what's the thing that pops in your head most? Me, it's rum, because, well, it's self-explanatory. But yeah, fuck you, Steel City Mason. Aldebaran, fornication? Yeah. So let me tell you about a funny story about that, Aldebaran, because that just reminded me of something. When I was thinking about an intro for my channel, was it somebody helped me with this? I have to go look it up, see who it was. Somebody helped me with this. What I was thinking about doing was cartoon gloves, like the Mickey Mouse gloves, the big white puffy gloves. And for me, my intro for Unfornicated was going to be like this brick wall with graffiti on it. And it was going to be an animation of the gloves doing this. And then it was going to be a brick wall, or a wrecking ball that comes in, breaks the brick, and behind it was going to be cement with the Unfornicated logo. That was the original idea I had for my entry, or for my intro video. And I still might do it, but I backed away from it because Joe Black made my intro video for me exactly as I asked it, with like 2 takes. That was it. And he did it the first time. He did it in 1 take, exactly what I wanted. And I realized I wanted to change what I wanted because I didn't like how it started. So, so he did it. He did a second version for me. But yeah, that was going to be my intro. It was going to be, cartoon hands going like a squeaky sound. And then it was going to be a wrecking ball with concrete, and it was just going to be Unfornicated behind it. And then it was just going to zoom in on that. That was how I started. Whether or not I get there, or whether or not it's something I want to continue doing, I don't know. But yeah, that was the Fornicated idea. Look, I'm proud of the channel. My family found my channel because my sister was promoting it. I'm not maybe so proud of some of my antics sometimes, but I am who I am. And to be honest, some of the stuff is so stupid, you can't help but get frustrated or annoyed with just the derp that goes on and the complete science denial and everything else. So it wears thin after a while, which is why we have the declassified files and why we have the, some of the other ones that we do. Yeah, Aldebaran, I'm curious, like, how I want to, like, most of my videos has a cold open and then the intro. So if I get past the 30-second mark or a minute mark, I can drop a 4-letter word, because I don't ever mark my stuff as safe for kids, because I know I'm prone to 4-letter words. But so that being said, when we're talking about, this spinny thing up here, if you guys have ideas of what else do you think would be interactive with chat, I want it to be fun. I want you guys to be part of it. I want you guys to have a hand in it as far as how successful it is. I want to make all the other channels look bad in comparison with how much that we're able to drive for Critical Think. But no pressure. It's, we do what we can. It's a shared community. I share the same people. You guys are the same people I see on Mike's channel, on DP's channel, on my channel, on Toon's channel, on FTFE, you name it, and I see you guys there. So, it doesn't matter in the end. What matters in the end is that Critical Think is the winner, and that's all that matters, as far as I'm concerned. Selfishly, yes. I like to give them, the a smirk and a middle finger to Curious, UK Debunks, and DP, and Mike, and Steve's Creepy Van, and Kobe Emporium, and say, "Ha, we did it. Thank you." Dry humor, yeah, deadpan humor is what I'm known for. Absolutely, Monkey. I agree. But yeah. So that's kind of it. I mean, I'm gonna release a little more info right before the stream. I'm probably going to release at least one more parody before the stream-a-thon. I'm going to release another video before the stream-a-thon. I've just been dragging my feet on trying to get motivated to finish the editing, because it's just, by the time I get done with the day over the last 2 weeks, it's like the last thing I want to do is sit in front of a computer again. I mean, just this week, I worked till 4 a.m. one night because somebody else had a network maintenance I had to help out on. And it went sideways, and it took all of us to figure it out. So it's what it is. Unless I win Powerball, which is going to be about 600 million, in which case I'll probably quit my job, and you fuckers will be stuck with me every day of the week. Because why the fuck not would I stream? I got nothing else to do. So here's hoping that I win Powerball. Send your thoughts, send your prayers. I'm kidding. Oh, I know what I was doing. I want to play, quote unquote, my collab with Conspiracy Music Studios. Do.
That's what I tell the flat earth youth. Talk so fast you can't keep track. If you fact check me, I just change the track. Ad hominem, you're dumb. Sit down, red herring, spin it all back round. Straw man, your claim, twisted for sport. Knock it down quick like it's my last resort. Equivocate my way to glory. inconsequent, that's my style. Begging the question, man, that's my guile. False equivalence, I mix and match. Reification, giving idea latch. Begging the question, that's my main hook. Cherry pick the data till the whole thing's cooked. I'm not wrong, I'm just ahead. At least that's what the voices said. Equivocate my way to glory. Appeal to authority, that's my story. Round and round with circular flare. Non sequitur. Hey, look over there. I was divorced, wife took the kids, so I dress like I'm 21. Your generation will be dead, they said. But I'm not that old, you know. Grandma's blouse, oh wow. Watch me now. Policy machine, yeah, watch me now.
That's an at-home straw man cherry picking. False equivalency, you're contradicting. Begging the question, appeal to my source, non sequitur, of course. And therefore the earth is flat.
Checkmate! I was divorced, wife took the kids, so I dress like I'm 21. Your generation will be dead, they said. But I'm not that old, you know. Grandma's blouse, oh wow. Watch me now. Policy machine, yeah, watch me now. Yeah. IQ 160 in my mind.
So yeah, here's actually the part of it right here. The original idea of the song and some verses in the chorus came from Dan from Unfornicated. So thanks for the call out, Conspiracy Music Studios. I'm glad I could help with that one. And I had a blast helping make that one. It was great. And the funny thing is that came together, the song came together really quick. And then it was just about the visuals and then, you know, sharing ideas with visuals and stuff like that. It was I think him and I started talking about this after one of my streams. It was late and it was either after the stream or it was after one of my late nights working that we were talking, and it just came together quick. He sent me the song within 2 days. It was crazy. I'm like, I love this. This is perfect. This has got, you know, and he was like, I like it. I'm not sure. I might have to change some things. He goes, but, you know, and then as he heard it more, he started growing on him. He goes, no, I think this is good. We can do something with this. So it was, I'm glad I had a hand in that. That was a great collab. And I'm glad that I was able to help out with that. But, you know, here's the thing. If you guys got ideas for content creators, don't be afraid to share them. Actually, Tori's not here. Tori was one of the first ones who hit me up on after my live stream. He said, hey, I think you were trying to do, he asked me a question. He goes, were you trying to do this? And I said, yeah, I just didn't know how to do it. I didn't have enough time. And he goes, let me show you. He goes, I'll provide the steps. And he literally lists out the steps for me to how to make a mask and an alpha mask and GIMP and how to use it and how to make it so I could have my side-by-side for guests and stuff like that. And like, I appreciate that sort of constructive criticism and help and stuff like that. But just keep in mind that, you know, even if it's with me or with another content creator, it is sometimes ideas that we get just don't work for whatever reason. There can be any number of reasons, and it just doesn't work. Fortunately for me, a lot of your guys' ideas work for me and work along with what I'm trying to do. So thank you to all of you and the Zoo crew and stuff like that who have been helpful. Because yeah. Swallow, no. He looks 50, bro, as the girls say. The look on his face when she said, "What are you, 50?" was just priceless. Because I'm 50 in, holy shit, less than a month. I'm guessing those girls would probably say I look 60, but whatever. The good news is that still got most of my hair. So I'll take that as a win for me. But yeah, I kind of don't got a lot else for tonight. That's kind of it. Like we're down to 2 hours instead of a 6-9 hour stream. But you know, we can open the floor. We always do. If there's something you guys would like to talk about, we can talk about it. I can be you know, I can be bribed. I'm just getting caught up on a couple things. Let's see, getting caught up on messages here real quick. Bear with me for one moment. I was trying to check in with DP. Oh, I know. I may have already shown this. And shit. I was working on my laptop. Hold on a second. Let me move this over. Whoops. Hold on. Let's see. I probably should find a way to actually connect these two, make life a lot easier, but I don't have that luxury right this second. And to be honest, Olivia uses this more than I do. Oh, wait, hold on. I know. I sent it to DP. Hold on. So the conspiratorial, nope, that wasn't it. The conspiratorial commercials that I'm making is, here we go. This is it. There we go. So we have Hubris Valley Ranch. We're gonna have Dunning-Kruger National Park. I know we talked about some of the other ones I'm working on, which is like Dance Law Firm. You know, when you have to turn your L's on online debates, W's, that's who you go to. And there's another one I'm working on called, it's going to be an over-the-top. And when I mean over the top, if you're a veteran of this channel and you know what over the top means, it means taking it to an even dumber level. Absurdity. You've all seen those commercials by like Acqua di Gio, Dolce Gabbana, you know, like all these like fragrance commercials that are like completely obscenely absurd, right? So Jim, DP was reaching out to him to see if he wanted to do something or at least make a cameo for it. I haven't had a chance to really talk to DP much because he's moving and he's doing great, but I think he's moving this weekend. So he's kind of been, you know, he found a new place. It's not far from where he lives now, which is beneficial. It means moving is easier, but you know, he's kind of got a lot of things kind of stacked up for him right now. So he's trying to get it all done. You know, Geek, if you survive one live stream on this channel, you're a veteran because I don't know how the hell you guys put up with my shit, but that's beside the point. But let me share with you a preview, and I may have already shown this, of one of the other parody commercials we have. I bring to you Occam's Razor, the fragrance. So this is just a snippet. And I'm rather proud of this because it looks like a safety razor, double-edged safety razor, right? It looks like there's gonna be some morphing and some things like this. So there's a whole lot of thing. It's going to be over the top. So picture the most cinematic, insane fragrance commercial you can imagine. And then put it in my hands. That's what's going to happen here. Steel City, you know what? By being here, you're going to be part of the giveaways. You should never, no one should ever have to apologize for not being able to donate or stuff like that. I want everyone to know that everything is here. Oh, Swallow brought up. Okay, Swallow. I did not see this message until just now. All right, hold on a second. We can talk about how this short. Okay, so Swallow, let me come back to your comment about Planet Peterson in a second. Foxworth, we can talk about how this short got 9.8K views. So if you haven't watched it, do so. I want 10K views. Oh, it's your short. Yeah, I don't do shorts. I think I might have to and stuff like that. But let's see.
Over a span of 25 minutes at closest approach, about 9,846 kilometers from the surface. The Mariner 4 was the first spacecraft to return close-up photos of Mars. It took
Mariner
21
4.
images over a span of 25 minutes at closest approach, about 9,846
Foxworth actually did something
kilometers
like
from the surface.
real.
The Mariner
He's showing you and providing information about Mars, Mariner 4. You know, Mariner 4 was the first close-up videos of Mars. This kind of dovetails into something I was looking at doing for Europa Clipper and the Reason system, which is a radar system they're going to use for trying to see below the ice. There's a couple of these that I'm looking at doing for, also one for Voyager. Like, how can we still communicate with Voyager if it's 1 billion miles away? Well, it's not easy, but it's not a fucking miracle either. Well, I don't know. Probably is a bit of a miracle, but I'll probably go into that into some sort of thing. So here you guys go. Occam's Razor, the fragrance. Cut the bullshit, smell the truth. Yeah, one light day's distance. Okay, I want to address something Swallow said real quick. And the funny thing is, like I said, Swallow and I know each other from Twitter. And there was a ringleader of sorts for Flat Earth Fridays and Twitter. For those who aren't familiar with Twitter, they have these spaces. They're like audio conference calls. And a certain amount of people are allowed to be up on stage, as they call it, who can talk. Obviously, there's moderation, things like that. And Flat Earth Fridays was run by an account called Crypto Keys 100. better than smelling bullshit. Maybe not. Who knows? I haven't actually figured out what the notes would be in it. I'm just trying to get the commercial done. So in this space, I want you to imagine a shit show. There'd be anywhere from 100 to 150 to more people in this space from Friday night. And if you thought some channels have a long entry of shit music and saying hello to everybody, holy shit, you have not seen a Flat Earth Friday on Twitter. It is a half hour of a failed DJ playing Flat Earth songs, talking over it and everything else, and saying hello to everybody and their mother. Anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes of doing this. Yes, Roger knows who I'm talking about. So these gatekeepers would bring up one Glober at a time in a dogpile, in a mute 'em. And when I first found like that space and found people like Swalla, there's other people there too, like Joe B, Peter, and a few others. They were hosting a counter space called Flat Earth Helpline on Saturday. And it was to answer questions that people had about why the Earth isn't flat. And it always turned into some flurf showing up and playing a knowledge test with everybody there to see if they could trip them up on something. But Flat Earth Fridays was just insane. It was Witsit hung out there. These are the type of people who would have a PhD physicist who was also a professor, worked at CERN, come on their space, give them a free physics lesson, discount it, tell the physicist to go do some homework based on some wild misinterpretation of some obscure experiment, I guess is a word, not peer reviewed, not anything else, but whatever. And tell them to go do homework and come back in a week and tell them what they learned. That's the nerve and the audacity that went on in this channel. Hey, speak of the devil, Copium Emporium is in here. Yeah. Swallow used to get dogpiled quite a bit. P-dubs used to get dogpiled quite a bit. Peter would get dogpiled. Anybody who went in there would get dogpiled. Swallow was funny in the sense that I loved when he did this. We were talking about New Year's. He invited Sacred and his girlfriend, cohort, whatever, Proud, on a flight on New Year's from Australia to South America to show that the flight exists, to show that the time it took, to show that it wouldn't work on a flat Earth. They could have drinks, they can watch the sunrise, they can celebrate New Year's over Antarctica. And they were worried that he was going to kidnap them. Oh, Swallow, do you have that? You have that link? Okay. So perfect. All right. I'm going to share something with you guys. This is a little behind the scenes of before Unfornicated came around. We had, do you remember the pressure without a container argument that always comes up? Well, this night we thought about, well, how is there pressure in the ocean without a container? And yeah, they thought that the Swallow's going to sex traffic Proud. It was beyond dumb. So, you know what? Swallow provided the link. Let's just watch this. You guys can hear us going derp. We basically go sideways and actually apply the same pressure needs a container to the ocean. This is the dumbness that we do. And to be honest, it was probably one of the funnest nights ever because it was so ridiculous.
I don't know why I have this massive fear of the ocean, and I think it's just because it's not our natural like we don't belong there. We don't belong just swimming around in the fucking ocean, dude.
I'm going to pause real quick. Hey, look, here's me and my old PFP of me standing next to my Jeep with my mountain bike. I quit using that because my you could sort of make out my my license plate.
We do not belong there. That is not our territory. And I think you will be punished for it if you try to do it a certain way.
Look, as a surfer and a diver, the water is my happy place. I love being in the water, and I'm content being there. But I still have a healthy respect for it. But something I just remembered. I remember doing a tour on one of my uncle's submarines for like a family day, and they have what they call the Look Mom hatch. And what it is, it's the quote unquote escape hatch, and that's what every submariner tells their moms. Like, look, if there's any problem, here's the hatch that we use to get out of there. Obviously, we're talking about pressures and all these other things and stuff like that. That's not necessarily what's going to happen. But, you know, could a sub, a rescue sub be attached to that? Yes. And yes, could people get, taken out of it? Yes. But it's called the Look Mom hatch for the longest time. And it's just like, look, Mom, see, nothing can happen to me. There's this hatch that we can escape from. I always thought that was a funny nuance of it, because as I got older and I joined the Navy myself, I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of things that we say, look, Mom, everything's fine kind of mentality. And that's not the case.
Hey, I think this is a really, really good topic, and I'd like to see if we could all maybe find some answers to these questions, by next Saturday night. My only question from a flat Earth perspective is, like, when that submarine goes down to the 300, 400, 450 meter depths, did they have to pass by any containers at all to be able to go down to that, 49 atmospheres deep? Because surely they would have to go through an airlock halfway down and then wait in that airlock and then go down to the next level just to make sure that the atmosphere pressure was correct.
I could tell you were building up to something, Swell.
Yeah, I saw it coming.
As a Navy enthusiast, I can tell you that every 50 meters, there's a container, and the captain has to come out of the submarine. The captain has a special key, and he unlocks the door in the container, and the submarine passes through the container into the internal container. Because there can be no pressure without the container, dude.
So that's
right.
That's really funny. Sorry, real quick. I can think from the flirt perspective that they would say, "Oh, the water is the container. What are you talking about? You're out of your mind. The water is the container, dude."
I don't know if anyone's used that as an argument, but I think it's actually genius.
Hey, look, if I'm down 400 meters and there is a boat which is floating, on the water level, right, and I fire a torpedo, even the captain has to strap himself onto that and get the key out, quickly unlock the next container, and then lock it behind him so that the torpedo can make it to the ship.
No, you have been misled.
The torpedoes have an automatic garage door opener installed in the warhead that allows them to open other containers.
Okay, that makes sense. It's good answers. It's good answers. I like them.
You've been lied to. So when that happens, the
Prove
captain...
it. I haven't been lied to. Prove it.
Yes, I'll show you. Just listen. So the captain computes the firing solution. Then he deploys the Navy SEALs. Why do you think the Navy SEALs exist? He deploys them from the submarine. The Navy SEALs unlock the gates in the respective containers. There could be quite a few of them. And only then you fire the torpedo.
And they also help with the direction finding. And they also help with the direction finding of the torpedo too, so they can steer it, while they're riding it to make sure it hits the right place.
Yes.
Are they steering the torpedoes with their noses? Like, are they trying to do it? Do they have to color the torpedoes in red and white stripes?
Yeah, well, they wear red and white stripes, wetsuits, but they're holding on to the fins themselves, and they take turns raising them and lowering to make sure that they're going to the right depth.
Okay. This is starting to make me seriously think that secretly the U.S. Navy seriously actually does have sharks with laser beams on it, and you have to actually see my inverted commas here. My fingers. freaking laser beams, man.
Dude, I actually
Wait,
have
wait.
tears
The
coming down of my
laser.
eyes. I'm laughing so
Wait.
fucking hard, dude.
Sea bass?
I got a story to
Are
tell
they
you, and you guys
ill-tempered?
got to tell me if I'm lying or not, okay? There was actually a Navy program to teach dolphins to identify enemy silhouettes to be able to place bombs on them.
It's true. I know it's true.
I know, Peter. I'm waiting for everybody else. I knew you.
Oh,
You're a Navy
shit.
enthusiast.
I fucked it.
You know what they call all-sea torpedoes from Australia? When you fire torpedoes, that's what the guys in the
Oh,
Navy
here
there,
we go.
they call them cunt stabbers.
Fuck it up.
Nah, I'm serious.
Should be
dude.
right.
They stab you
Yeah,
right in the
Said it
cunt.
with a Boston
The
accent.
guidance on it is should be right.
Oh, dude, I can't stop laughing. Fuck you guys. I have tears streaming down.
It's how
my
babies
face,
are
bro.
made.
Oh my fucking god.
Okay, guys. Here.
That's how baby submarines are made.
So we're gonna wrap this space up soon, but let's do it in style. Our friend Mike Oxby the robot polisher, will be disappointed. One, that it's a short space. Two, that not that many people showed up. So let's spend the last 10 minutes doing good work for Mike. Let's come up with the best flat Earth satire that we can think of collectively, kind of like we just did. But let's improvise and let's see if we can build something nice for Mike as a Christmas gift for Mike.
Can we really top the submarines, though? I mean, come on. That was pretty epic.
That was good.
I don't know. I thought the fly on the window was funny from that fucking space one.
So there you go. This is what happens when it's a Saturday night and or Sunday morning for Swallow, and we were having or Sunday night for Swallow, and we were basically applying the same argument that Flair's used to a submarine and how ridiculous it is. And now you can see kind of how ridiculous it was. And yes, there was a program for putting mines and explosives on enemy ships using dolphins. Didn't work all that well, but they explored it at least because, you know, everything's fair in war and any advantage you can get. So yeah, that was so I'm glad you recorded that that you put that on the video. I forgot about that. Yeah, submarines need a container. This was just us just being derps and applying a Flurf argument to real world, and that's what we came up with. No, it was not Flipper. Flipper was a lot smarter. God, yeah, I remember that night. That was a fun night. I mean, that was like the culmination of that night. There was other times where like a flat earth would come in and turns into a knowledge test. So everyone there sort of had their own expertise of sorts. So whether it was Swalla, Peter, Joe B, who's not in there, Brad, who's Boy in Black, myself, Dave Payton was also one of those. Just it was always a fun time. We just hang out and just debunk whatever was going on Flat Earth Fridays. And if a flat earther came in and wanted to quote unquote ask questions, because that's all they do is ask questions, they make no claims, we could be there to answer them for them and help lead them in the right way and towards the right answer. Swalla, if you go to DP Debunks' channel, there's a video he did on the dingo fence. I think you would enjoy. It's based loosely on the video I did about guarding the ice wall and how much money and resources it would take. So, Flat Earth Dave Dearth made a comment about the dingo fence in Australia and that it's hiding something, obviously, because no one can go by it. And this was it's like a collaboration of the Derp Vengers to apply our specialties to it. So I did the the military aspect of what the resources and money was, and you might be amazed at how much it would cost and why it's so ridiculous. Rob, that sounds like Pavlov's dog's revenge. Oh shit! You're only coming to us for food. Yeah, that dingo fence video was one of my favorites to do because it was. I got to mess around with Canva. I got to put together some stuff for DP, and it was fun. I thoroughly enjoyed that one. Send in Twitter. Yeah, sure. Give me 1 minute here. Let's go to. Whoops. Typing gets worse throughout the day. Let's see. We'll copy the link. And we'll send it. Oh, come on. Swallow here. Click that. I got to sign in. I don't remember what my password was on this. I've never signed in on this computer. So there's the link. I can send it to you a little later if you really want me to send it to you on X. But yeah. So oh, Flat Earth Library had a new video. Go fucking figure. Of course he did. No, I just put the link here in chat. Just go ahead and click that link and that'll bring you right to it. But yeah, 211 subscribers. Look at that. Whoops. But yeah, I need to get on content. I need to stop procrastinating. I need to start doing some work. Because apparently I'm not doing the work. But yeah, that is a that was a funny video because the numbers are outrageous. Like I tried to use the most cost efficient and most the most conservative use of personnel to find out how to man a 5,600 kilometer fence to keep people out from places that you can visit. And the fence has gates that you can drive through that some people forget to open or close and are left open. This is what conspiracies do to your brain. Yeah, there was and it was funny is that was another collab because when I was talking to DP about that, he's like, hey, can you collab with me on this video and do the military part? Because he goes, I know fuck all about military. I'm like, yeah, that's no problem. I can do that. And I was like, you want me to put it together for you? You want me to do it? He goes, no, just do it. I'm like, okay. And while we were talking about it, we were talking about the ending, about how we had to have a parody of a memorial for those Derp unit soldiers who fell in the line of duty. And we were trying to figure out the worst possible way we can make it absurd. So why not have it as a wooden bookshelf in the middle of the outback, surrounded by sheep with jars of Vegemite, while the last post is playing in the background? I think we should have had the last post played on kazoos, but I like his version too. So, yeah. There's been some collabs over the last month that I've actually really enjoyed doing. I mean, I love having streams and chatting with you all and working together on projects with you all, but working with like Mike and DP and Conspiracy Music and even Copium Emporium to a certain extent, working on stuff and coming up with stuff is, to me, it's a lot of fun because it gets me out of my, like, I'll end up with tunnel vision. That's kind of where declassified came from. The declassified files came from because I was getting just worn out from all the conspiracies and just listening to this shit over and over and over. It's just, I needed a break. But I still want to do content. So I was like, well, let's do declassified series. And that's where we came up with Ace High, Code Talkers, History Cryptology, USS Liberty, all those things. And I'm thankful for it. And that was actually, there was a couple people who helped me with that. It was Emma had the idea of Code Talkers. Monkey, Cat, Pat had the idea of the declassified files. Everyone's kind of provided sort of input on that. I'm kind of lagging behind. I got a whole list of things to do for these. Actually, what? Nope, that's commercials. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Nope, that's not what I wanted either. Don't care about that one either. Hold on. I'm trying to find my list here. There we go. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of that. I'm going to show you in a minute. Just give me a minute. I'm one of these people who uses notepads for everything. So, so what we got here is my list. I'm going to transition it. All right, there we go. I'm not sure if you guys can read this because it's also in my head, but we'll try this. Let's see if you guys can read this. Let me know. Yes, it's better to have way too many ideas than not enough. That's for sure. And I was worried about not having enough because I've been kind of recycling some of my Twitter posts in the videos, and it was just easier to do. But now it's like, well, now what do I talk about? Like, what do I discuss? What do I do? And I've been trying to get through writer's block. It's semi cut off. Okay, here's what we'll do. We're just going to shrink this to here. We'll do this. I'll do this. Here we go. Okay. So, for debunk, like regular debunk videos, we had Patrolling the Ice Wall, did that. We have Catharsis 2, did that one. Harp Conspiracies, working on that one. Fiber optics versus satellites. That's a popular one that I've done over countless times on Twitter. Those who are on Twitter and follow me, you already know what the hell this is about. It's about the monetary things of why we use undersea cables and not satellites. Comes down to money and throughput. I want to do an Apollo 11 interview with a reporter who worked with a gentleman by the name of Larry Basinger. He was a radio operator. He worked for an actual radio station, but also was a radio operator from home. He's a ham radio operator. Built his own antenna and listened in on Apollo 11. The reason why he wanted to listen in on Apollo 11 was A, to see if he can do it, and B, because he literally wanted to see if NASA was going to cut anything out. So they were in a shed listening to it, and they got 30 seconds lead time than everybody else who was in there. So I think the reporter was like 23 at the time, not, kind of fresh out of college in Louisville, Kentucky, listening to the astronauts talking to each other and talking to Houston. Coincidentally, they could not hear Houston's conversation because of the way radio works. And if anyone ever says, what's your one proof that the moon landing was real? That's it. Because the only way that works is if they're transmitting from someplace like the moon. Let's destroy Bigfoot so you can upset me. I'm not going to destroy Bigfoot. I'm not against cryptids. What I am against is the obvious bullshit that goes with that. And the same thing with UAPs. Oh, Aldebaran. I forgot about that one. Let me copy paste that one. Hold up. So anyway, we're going to go down here, and I obviously I'm going to have to title this one and stuff like that, but let's go back. So Apollo 11 interview is what I'm doing. 5G wireless conspiracies, VHF distance records. It's another flat Earth one. I don't really want to keep doing flat Earth ones. Satelloons versus satellites. Again, another flat Earth bullshit thing. The Apollo zipper is one that I'm thinking about doing a demonstration. I have a dry suit. It has the same zippers that an EVA suit has. Less of them, but the same type of zipper. I want to demonstrate it can hold a 4 psi gauge differential between the outside air and the inside air and not make me look like a balloon. Make it look like I can still walk around. I can still do things. And that it will maintain it for an extended amount of time. So the idea that, oh, there's Velcro and zippers on this, how does it keep the air in? Doesn't matter. It keeps the air in first and foremost. And even if it did have a leak, it doesn't make sure you boil. It's just like if you have a leak in a balloon, what happens? It slowly leaks out air. GPS cell towers. That's one that I personally love because Twitter brought this one. It was actually one of my first debunks on Twitter because somebody, a complete fucking moron from New Jersey who goes by the name of that guy, and Swallow, if he's still here, knows who I'm talking about. She said that GPS is on cell towers because a technician who worked for a cell tower sent him pictures of a rack with a P-Touch label on it that said GPS. Now, there is a GPS antenna on cell towers, but that's for timing purposes because you're talking about synchronous networks that need to be timed off of one source. That's what it's there for. But they don't know that because they all work at McDonald's. And not that I work at McDonald's is a bad thing. But you shouldn't claim to be an expert on cell towers if you've never actually been on one or in a hut or around a network. Bluetooth vaccines. Oh, yeah. Geek saw that one. Yeah. Geek, you'll love this. There is a couple of British people who are talking about the fact that they are in a field with a computer and they have all electronics turned off and they can see somebody with a vaccine walk up and all of a sudden it shows up on available sources for Bluetooth. So part of that's going to be going into how small of a Bluetooth transmitter can you get that's powered, why it differs from being microchipped for your pet that's got induction power and has to be like touching the skin, and why it's bullshit and doesn't fit through the gauge of a vaccine. So yeah, that's one of the ones. Earth, Moon, Earth communications. Talked about that a couple different times, but I might go a little more in depth into that. It might make it part of the Apollo one. I don't know yet. It's one of those things. It's kind of like working in, and that's like one of the ones I added recently. So the raw science, the unfornicated raw files. We talked about photons already, right? Actually, you do this. Done. Talk about the speed of light. When we started realizing what the speed of light is, how fast it is, how we fine-tuned it, how long we've known it, and how it changes based on the refractive index of a material, and why it doesn't really change anything else, and how things like mass and relativity, space-time curves speed of light and causes that differences. The Fourier transform, which is math's greatest hits. This is all more like IT-based stuff. That's kind of like more of my wheelhouse. Shannon's information revolution, how your cell phone finds a tower, the physics of a ping, why compression works and when it fails, because all those ISS videos are all wires and not compression. Random versus pseudo-random generators. I love that one. That one's fun. Coincidentally, there is no such thing as a true random generator, number generator, but there are pseudo-random generators that are built off of, say, like pi, that they need 10 digits. They'll take blocks of 10 digits of pi to the infinite number that it goes into. Yeah, Leo, they're just stupid. That's exactly it. Aldebaran, like I said, no shade on people working at different jobs and everything else. The difference is your friend, after working there 40 years and getting a retirement from them, is going to be better than my retirement, first. And B, or second, because letters and numbers I mix up, I don't necessarily see him going on social media claiming to debunk all of science after never being into a cell tower before. And that's kind of like where I was going with that. So I worded it clumsily. I apologize if I offended anybody, but going to TCP and IP, the protocol that built the web, how the internet actually works. When you hear about the cloud, what it really means. DNS, the internet's phone book, basically how to go from what youtube.com goes to an actual IP address, which is based on numbers, and whether it's IPv4, IPv6, all those other things. Nerd stuff. Those last three you learned about in college. These three, the TCP, how the internet works, and DNS. Cygnus, Fourier for the win. Linear congruent generator. Exactly, Copium. Exactly. But we call them random number generators because they're random numbers. They just not generated randomly, which kind of defeats the purpose, but I digress. And then for declassified, we already did Code Talkers, Navy Cryptology, Navy A-Side Network. Project High Jump, I'm thinking about trying to see if I can talk to McKeegan and do a collaboration on that, either a stream or a video. Gulf of Tonkin, this is not supposed to be the Massachusetts. It's supposed to be the USS Maine, which was sank in Havana Harbor. Operation Northwood and World Trade Center 7. This is like two things that you think would not be related, but Operation Northwood talks about actual false flag events that were planned, and World Trade Center shows you how it's not planned or a false flag and that things just actually fucking happen. No, I'm not going to teach anybody about random number generation. I'm going to talk about the differences of why we don't have random number generators and what we use in place of, like Copium just said, the linear congruent generator of random number generators that, for a layman term, is a random number generator. It's more like just about, if you play games, you pray to RNGesus, right, for your drops. And drops are based on percentages and supposedly RNG, random number generators, but there is no true RNG available. Another one about declassified is the business plot. This talks about, a possible coup in the US based on businesses, not necessarily government. Operation Gladio, which is based off of sleeper cells by the CIA after World War II in Italy. That's an interesting topic because a lot of conspirators try to sit there and point that there was actual, what do they say? There was actual court cases against them, and they proved that that they were there and what they were doing, and that they were all arrested and blah. Just insert all the stupid shit. Project Azorian, which was Hughes working with the CIA and other intelligence agencies to raise a Soviet sub from the ocean floor while the Soviets watched them. So that's a fun one. Aerial refueling. For those who don't know, there's we actually use two different types of aerial refueling in the military. There's the Air Force version and the Army version, and the Navy and Marine Corps version. One's a boom, one's a basket. Why do we have two? And what's the things of it? Now, since I'm a Navy vet, there might be some innuendos in that script about how those work. And the last one that Aldebaran just brought up was about the USS Greenville, which I'm going to have to re-familiarize myself with and look at. So like that's the topic. So like I said, I'm always open to more topics. If you guys have something you want to talk about, you guys can drop me an email. You can drop a note, a comment at the end of this or any other video. I see them and I answer them all, or at least acknowledge them all. And or you can reach me on Discord. So take your pick. I'm always around. I'm not hard to find. But if there's something you want me to tackle specifically, or you think that's something I might find interesting, by all means, drop me a note. I'm happy to have it. Cygnus has some nifty programs, animations that demo FFT's inverse basics. Oh, Sig, you and I need to get together on that one then. I need some of those. But yeah, Monkey Cat Pat and I were talking about cryptids and UAPs as two different topics for videos. I really wanted to go after the UAPs in Congress because if you follow the money, you follow the motivation. And if you don't know what any of these things are, don't feel bad, because I had to look up some of these. Or these are things I learned years ago that I need to refamiliarize myself with. The Bluetooth vaccine one is just so fucking dumb. Like, if you look at what the smallest Bluetooth transmitter that could send a MAC address is, including a battery, because how else are you going to power it? You're not talking about nanobots. You're talking about like an IUD that a woman has under her skin that you could actually feel. That's what you would feel. Yes, thank you, CK. Is there an official version of the Philadelphia experiment? Rob, that's a good question. Calder, yes, DIA is something we need to discuss. What should we put that under? Let's put that here. Let's make it a debunk video because that's going to be, it's not necessarily declassified or anything else like that. There's nothing classified about how they built it. It's all fucking common knowledge. And the trick is going to be finding the documentation from the building of it, which I think will be interesting. But I have lots of friends who are, well, okay, I lied. I don't have a lot of friends. I have some friends. I have some friends who have access to various specialties that I can use. Like I said, I have a geologist friend who's on vacation. I have a nurse practitioner who's in the family who helps me out with the biology. I have some other people that I know who are helpful in other aspects, whether it be sciences, engineering, or things like that, who don't usually want to be on camera, but they're happy to give me the information so I can go look like an idiot on camera. So CK, I heard about it. I heard about their advertising basically in more or less embracing the conspiracies, like come to Denver and see for yourself kind of mentality. And I might actually phrase it that way. I might actually do well, I don't know. Does the Denver International Airport scream for a parody commercial of basically come just to see the airport? I mean, that could be funny. I might have to do something on that too. We can use the parody as a short to lead into the video that comes out. If you guys have watched my videos by now, you know that I don't like just going into a debunk. I got to make it somewhat absurd and stupid, whether it's Good Morning Antarctica twice or parody commercials or just ridiculousness. I have to make it interesting. I don't want to make it boring. Because, look, education is boring to begin with. I had plenty of instructors who were boring. I had a few that weren't, and I still remember them to this day. And they're the type of people that I channel, as long as people like Professor Dave and Milo Rossi and stuff like that, that drive me to make things more fun. And that's what we try to do. Because while we're here, it's about not only debunking the stupidity or unfucking the stupidity, it's about having fun while doing it. So if I can make you laugh and we can all learn something, that is a win in my book. That to me is a successful video. The rum's starting to kick in. That is a successful video for me, regardless of how many views it gets, because I could give a shit. Yes, I'm not monetized. I don't care. The only thing I care about as far as views goes is, do I get views outside of the debunking community? Are people sharing my videos on Conspiratard's streams or on Conspiratard's feeds and stuff like that? So that's what I care about. Because, again, if it's not mine, as long as it's somebody else's. If it's not somebody else's, then we should be doing that. It's kind of how it comes out to. Forest Valkai's Reactaria, a witch. I'm not following you on that one, Aldebaran, but I can. You can drop me a line later and help me out with that one. Our brain is borderline frog. But yeah, ideas are welcome. Ideas are helpful. I'm going to take pending off. Script's done on that. I have to take scheduling off because I have dropped contact with the guy I need to reestablish. But yeah, like Gulf of Tonkin, which is a similar story to like the USS Liberty. The USS Maine, which is another, possible false flag. Philadelphia experiment. Narrative. All right, I'm going to mark that one with a question mark, Rob, because I need to look into that one. And again, FOIA requests are a thing. I'm not the only one who puts them in. So the good news is that there's places that take those FOIA requests or Freedom of Information Act and actually puts them into a database of sorts or into an aggregate form. Sort of easy to look up. And even the NSA actually makes them to where if they fulfill a FOIA request, they have to provide it online, or they make it a point to provide it online. Oh, you'll find a link for it? Okay, cool, thanks. Lucifer the horse. Yeah, yeah. I've with the red eyes and the blue. Is it metal? I guess it is. But yeah. Or is it orange eyes because it's for the Denver Broncos colors? I forget. But yeah, that's definitely the symbology at DIA and why it should be. It's all one Satanist plot. Yeah, the Indianapolis is kind of like you know what? Let me add that. I know we talked about it before, Monkey. Let me see if I can find. Let me see if there's been anything declassified recently on that. It's a story that a lot of people know, that a lot of people know or maybe aware of, and it's something that's been done a few times over on YouTube. Like, I think last count I had was like a lot. Yeah, it's been done a lot. Not to say I won't do it, but it's definitely something that I want to do differently. I want to see if there's maybe some new FOIA stuff that provides some new information. I believe it's this video. It fell on the artist and killed him. Fucking irony.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Reacteria.
Oh, God. Okay, I know who this is. Yes. Yeah, I've seen 2 of these videos, and I had forgotten about it. Shit, he's got 200. Damn. Yeah, he's got he's got some good videos, and I like his style on a lot of things. To be honest, I forgot. The funny thing is, like, in my day-to-day stuff, I usually put things on the background, and I'll look up and I'll like during my work day because I work from home. So I'll have the TV on. It's at a low volume, so I can still be on my calls and not broadcast I'm watching Star Wars or something like that over my conference call. And I'll have something on in the background, whether it ends up being Simon Dan tune or something like that, or just my Milo Rossi or something in general. And when it's playing in the background, every once in a while, I'll get a quiet minute, something will catch my attention. I'll look up and I'll watch it for a few minutes. But if I go back to something or get on another call and I miss the channel, I don't always remember what the channel was. And that's something I need to stop doing. I need to make it more of a point to pause when I take a call, not just let it keep playing. I saw this one, the Creationist movie, Night at the Creationist Museum. And I saw the legs are just stupid arms, because that caught me by surprise. I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, I gotta see what this one was. But I don't recall much of it. I don't remember if I watched it all or not, but I definitely need to see it again. Oh, I'll have to watch that one. I might have to steal a clip of that and find a use for it. I'm sure I could find a use for it. He's a biologist. Yeah, that makes sense. So there was another video and I'm going to have to go find it now because it's going to annoy me, that they took a Google question that if you were shrunk down to 2 centimeters high, the size of a nickel, and you're put in a blender and you have 60 seconds to get out, how do you get out? And it's like it was like a Google interview question. Now, a lot of these questions are no longer being asked because they realized it was stupid. But the premise of it was to see if you can think outside the box. There was never any wrong answer except I don't know. But it was to see how your thought process, it supposedly is to help them identify what your thought process was, how you're able to, discern certain facts and come up with things. But I actually bought the book. It says, "Are you smart enough to work at Google?" And somebody did a video on this. And the video they went into, they actually researched this over a month. And they talked to a bunch of different people. And what they did is they said, they talked to someone from University of West Virginia, I think it was, the biomechanical group department, who actually said that even though you're shrunk, besides the fact that you wouldn't be able to breathe and all this other stuff, throw all that out. It's basically based on the same mechanics of a horse can jump 2 meters in the air and a squirrel can jump 2 meters in the air, but proportionally, a squirrel is a lot smaller than a horse. So even though I may be 2 meters high, we're just short of 2 meters high, or a lot shorter than 2 meters high. I'm 6 foot. That if I'm shrunk down to 2 centimeters, I could still be able to jump 40 centimeters, which is 5 centimeters higher than the blender. It's a really, really good video. Let me see if I can find it. Like the amount of research they did on it is obscene. Here it is. From Veritaserum. So
there is this.
Yeah, the blender question everyone gets wrong. I highly recommend this. It is highly entertaining. They do a lot of research in this. And but like I was thinking about, this is some of the stuff I could cover too. And some of the stuff, since I have the book now, I can start going through the questions. Problem is I have 2, 4, 6. I have 10 books to read. And that's not one of the 10 yet. Veritasium. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, Faster Than Wind Sail was also a good one too. There's a lot of good, there's so many good channels out there. And whenever I do a topic, I actually do a search to see when was that topic last covered. And that's kind of why Liberty was one of those ones I didn't want to cover twice. There's 2 reasons. One was the current environment, how would it be viewed? I had to be very conscious about how I presented my information. And 2, how popular is it on YouTube? How many people have been watching it? How many people have been looking at it? How many videos are there of it? Am I just going to get lost in the sauce because these channels with 18 million subscribers are doing videos on it, and I have 200 and I'm doing a video on it. So it's kind of like weighing it and trying to figure out which best to do it. Right, Rob. I mean, but that's the thing. So, but if you're working at Google and you're worried about your mass, what are you applying to Google for? That's the question. So, like, I know a couple people who work at Google in the network side. They do the submarine cables, or they do the equipment on the submarine cable that goes over the submarine cables. They do the network infrastructure. I get asked that question. I don't know anything about biomechanics. It's not my wheelhouse. I rock climb as a hobby, so I would think, am I small enough to grab onto the imperfections in the glass? I mean, I'd be at a loss. But yeah, I mean, I look at it as in like, all right, cool. I have a fiber optic background. How do I apply that to jumping out of a fucking blender? But I admit, I do have some friends who do work at Google, and they absolutely love it. And I'm insanely jealous. In fact, I have one friend who lives in Pennsylvania in a suburb outside Philly. And he commutes to Atlanta. And he's there for like 2 days out of the week. So he flies in like Sunday night. He stays until Tuesday after work, and then he catches a flight home. But it's cheaper for him down there to do that, to actually rent an apartment than it is to get a hotel. And the flights from Philly to Atlanta are like $70. So it's cheaper than what he was spending in gas when he and I worked at the same company. So, like, he's getting paid a hell of a lot more money, and in his expenditures, counting gas and maintenance on his car that he was doing, is offset by the costs of the apartment, which is dirt cheap for him, because it's just a studio, and it's insane. But he also makes it a point of telling me all the great things that are in the building, like the kitchens, the cafeteria, the nap modules, and yeah. Arun, you suck. I mean, look, if you're going to work for a big company, you might as well work for Google if they're going to take care of you like that. That's the way I look at it. Yeah, I don't know. I think I know 6 people at Google in various different realms of the company. Which is actually how I found out that, I mean, they made an announcement, but no one really follows these kind of announcements. But Google is laying 2 undersea cables that connect Sydney, or a suburb of Sydney, to Chile, and from Perth to South Africa somewhere. And guess what those latency tests are going to show? They're going to show that the Earth is a globe. And they should be done the end of next year, I think, because they're long-ass cables. But again, more of the telecom background that I have, and we were discussing that about what the expected latency was going to be, what it's going to be engineered as, what they, some of the challenges that they come across and stuff like that. So, Bunky, something funny. If there's any of my Twitter folks on here, there's this woman. I've sponsored her. I've showed her before on one of my streams. Her name's Marjorie Bishop. She's the one who looked constipated when she was at NASA Houston because she thought it was all fake and was realizing it's not. She made a claim one time. You'll love this. That fiber optics cannot bend over the curvature of the Earth. That's why the Earth is flat. And that's why we have undersea cables. And I had to show her a picture of fiber optic cable on a fucking spool. It's wound up on a spool. And that we have a certain bend radius that we can do, depending if it's an armored cable or non-armored cable, depending if it's single mode or multi-mode. It's based on the diameter. You can bend it. You can make a sweeping bend, a 90-degree bend, and it's based on the diameter of the cable. I think it depends on if there's tension on it or not. It's like 10 times the radius. So if it's a 2-inch wide cable, you can do a 90-degree bend over 20 inches without hurting the glass. And she said that fiber optics cannot bend over the curvature of the Earth, otherwise it would break the glass. And I started laughing and showed her a fiber on a wooden spool on a truck and on a boat that the company I worked for put in. And told her, look, it's bent. And it's more than 8 inches per mile. I got blocked right after that. So what can I say? Yeah, Cygnus, when she said that, I had to pick myself off the floor from laughing. And then I just started typing feverishly, and I had to correct all my spelling mistakes as I went looking for a picture because I was typing so fast because I couldn't believe how fucking dumb that was. Yeah, Jim, exactly. And the sweeps are all based. I mean, in a CO, it does a 90-degree sweep in less than 4 inches for a single fiber. When it's in conduit, in EMT, there's sweeping turns. Here's the thing. There's 2 different equations. There's one to do a single 90-degree, and there's a second equation to do more than or up to 270 degrees. Like how much, like you can't just bend it 270 degrees. You have to bend it and have a straight, and then bend it, have a straight, and have a bend and have straight. And there's a mathematical equation to set up how long of it has to be straight and how long the sweeps can be before you start causing attenuation in the glass. Yeah, they'll parrot anything. And they're experts on everything, even though I know for a fact that the only fiber optics that Marjorie has ever touched is one of those stupid little pen light things that you can shake and wave around that has fiber optics and lights come out the ends. Like I called out specifically, fuck, I don't have my account on here. Copium's going to help me out with the LCG, the linear congruent generator. That's cool. Yeah, Leo, you're not lying. You are not lying. They thought glass and they're like, it breaks. And here's the best part. And this is one of the things I laugh at. Undersea cables are a very niche, specialized thing. But there's more than just underwater fiber cables. The predecessors to that were underwater copper cables. And there's underwater power cables. And inevitably, a flat earth moron will show an underwater power cable that is all copper. You'll see these big diameter of copper parts. There are usually like 3 of them in a triangle that are smaller and 1 center one. And they'll say it's an underwater fiber cable, but there's not a single piece of fiber optic in that fucking cable because they don't know what they're looking at. They just parrot stupid shit. And the funny thing is an underwater cable will have copper in it because it sends power down the copper for the amplifiers to use to amplify the signal. And they're like, for the Catholics that are out there, they look like rosary beads on the cable. The cable comes down, they'll have an EDFA or some kind of amp, a dopium dipped amp, like a iridium amp that is on the cable, that is tapped into the power of the copper to amplify the circuit so it goes out, because otherwise you have to bring it up and terminate on a piece of equipment or whatever. So they have these, say another word, we call them rosary beads along the cable that do this. We have to power them. We power them in the cable. So like, for instance, here, let me just, I'll show you guys real quick. An insulation mattress. Absolutely. I agree. So like here, this is undersea cable. So you see there's a copper ring. Let me see if, let me do this. There we go. So so it has an armored jacket. So it has, has the outer ring. It has an armored jacket that comes in here. You'll see the metal that goes around. It's like a bunch of quarters. That's armor. Then there's inside, there's other things that are armor. Inside these white ones will be the fibers, and there's not many in there. And then here's the copper, and like it's all engineered for a reason. Yeah, Steel City. I realized it after the second or third time. I'm like, oh yeah, that's airplane. Fuck. Oh, here's a good one. Hold on a second. Let's see if it'll let me open it. So the deeper you go, the less fiber you get, the smaller the cable gets because of pressure. That needs a container. Yeah, I'm sorry you guys had to, I had to share that. That to me was funny. When we talk about the rosary beads, these are like the EDFAs here. Wonder if they have one. I wonder if they have one on the boat is what I was looking at. Now, here's the thing. I haven't done deep sea water cables like this. You know, like deep sea, like Pacific Ocean deep. All mine stuff has been like we crossed the Hudson, but it was underwater cable because it has to be rated for underwater, and it has to be armored and stuff like that to prevent damage from ships and things like that, anchors and stuff. So like this is what a cable looks like. You have all these armoring, all this armor around it to keep the pressure from collapsing. You have this, which is like a plastic type material. You have more armor here again, and then you have a single tube with like 12 fibers. So you join fiber optics with a fusion splicer, which literally melts the glass, and as it heats it up, it moves it together. And it's it's measured in microns, like what the deviation is. And once I wonder if I can do one if I can steal one from work. That'd be cool. So you take this, so the individual fibers are color coded like you see in the picture here, and it's called cladding. So you take the cladding off, you strip the cladding off without stripping or breaking the glass. So you have bare glass, which is literally a hollow fiber glass core, and or not this, it's a glass core, not hollow, but just follow me. You have two bare glass, and it arcs it, so it moves them close and lines them up. And we're talking about, again, measuring microns, so it's got a camera on it, and it matches up based on its alignment. And then it arcs it, and when it arcs it, it melts the ends, and it pushes it together. And as soon as it's done arcing and it cools rather quickly, it then tries to pull it apart. It puts tension on it to make sure it's good. And it does a test based on any dust or anything else that could be on it, or misalignment. That'll tell you how much loss is expected in that splice. And that splice, if it was more than 0.05 difference, and I forgot what the measurement for the 0.05 was, you would have to do it again, which means you have to cut it again. You have to cleave it again. Like we had special cutters that would cleave it flat, like flat earth flat. To line it up, because if you have an angled cut, it causes problems and stuff like that. I'm actually going to be, yeah, I'm going to have to borrow one from work, I think. I think that would be cool. I can set up an overhead cam. I can like show like on my desk fiber, like show how small it really is. I mean, when you hear the stories that they are human hair, that's literally what it is. When you get to the glass part, you know, show the different. I mean, I have a couple different cables that we have, like 24 fibers, 48, 96. I could probably get a chunk of 432, but I don't think I want to carry that. That's heavy. But yeah, I mean, I could set up. I'll have to talk to some people at work because I used to be in the field, so I used to do this. I'm not in the field anymore, so I don't have access to it anymore. But I could probably ask the field guys if there's any lying around that I could steal to borrow for a night, and I can do a quick video on it or a demonstration on it. I think it'd be pretty cool. But Rob, here's the fun part about me doing fiber splicing is that it's color coded, and I'm colorblind. Yeah, it's, and here's the funny thing: the glass can break off, and you get glass slivers in your fingers. Painful as all get out, because they'll get either under your nails or they'll get in your fingers when you're doing like a lot of splicing. Oh God, do they hurt? And you can't really see them. You have to catch the light just right. You have to use everything from drawing salve to electrical tape to try to pull them out. Tweezers are kind of like a no-go because they're so hard to find. You have to wait till they get like almost infected to see the red mark to find out where they are. Yeah, they suck. The glass splinters suck. The ones under the nails are the worst because it doesn't even have to stay there. It just jabs you under the nail and it's like, oh, ow, that hurts. Yeah, I'll have to make a phone call tomorrow. See if I can get one. See if I can borrow for a weekend. It'd be interesting. But it's called a, so here's the funny thing. We now have fusion splicers. And here, I'll show you. This is the one we had. So you open this up. There's cameras here on this. And the screen tells you everything. And you basically take a single fiber and you put it into a tray and lock it down after you cleave it. And you strip it and cleave it and you put it down in this tray. Then you do the same thing with the other side. You wipe it down with alcohol. You put it in the tray. Then you close the lid and you press the button to set. And what it does is it lines up. So it might be too far. It might be too close. They might overlap. It might not line up correctly. There might be like, a natural bending in the cable that's causing it to not sit flush. So you got to kind of reset it until it finally sets. And then when it finally sets, it gets close enough, it lines up, then it'll arc and it'll put it together and then it'll try to pull it apart to make sure it's good. And then you put a reinforced heat shrink over it. So it's a heat shrink that goes over the splice. It's got a metal bar over it. And that way it keeps the splice protected. And then that splice goes into something like this, a fiber splice tray. Here's the individual fibers. Now you've seen how small it is. These are the heat shrinks with the metal bars in them that the fibers are spliced here somewhere in the middle-ish. And then you heat shrink this real quick to make sure that it stays straight and reinforced. Then you put them in a tray and that's it. Yeah, I could do it for the marathon. I'd rather do something that's more, I don't know, interactive with chat, but I could definitely do that. Yeah, these are splice trays. This is what fiber optics sits in. I mean, when I explain how internet works to people, it baffles their brain a little bit because it's like, let's say I work for, like I have Spectrum at home, and let's say Skill City has Verizon, and I send an email to him. It goes out Spectrum Network, and it goes to what we call a telecom hotel. So since I'm near New York City and still sees near Pittsburgh, it would either go across my network, the Spectrum network, to Pittsburgh or somewhere nearby that we have a network interface with Verizon, or it would go to a telecom hotel, as we call it, where all the carriers are interconnected to each other. And it goes into one of those telecom hotels where there's a network interface with Verizon. Then it rides Verizon network from New York City to his location. Or there could be 2 or 3 other companies along the way that do it also. So there is no direct route to there. Okay, you have Comcast. Same difference, same principle. So when it goes to the cloud, what it means is the nearest location to one of the locations to the source or destination, it goes to a common location near the source or destination where there's a network interface between the 2 companies. And sometimes if those 2 companies don't have a network interface, it has to use a 3rd or 4th company to get to that company. That's usually when you're dealing with smaller regional carriers. Like if you got bumfuck Egypt telephone in Nebraska and I have Verizon and we don't have any interconnects to it. Or I have a Northeast regional company like First Light, and First Light and bumfuck Egypt Telecom don't have an interconnect, but bumfuck Egypt has one with Verizon. First Light has one with Spectrum, with Hurricane, and Hurricane has a connection with Verizon, so that way it goes that route. So yeah, that's my days. That's what I do. I make the internet work by routing traffic and fixing shit and making sure it works as well as possible. Or at least that's what I used to do. Over the last couple of years, I've been doing more cost reduction. So getting rid of older 30-year-old networks that aren't in use anymore, but still carry some traffic. Yeah. All right. So that's enough of my bullshit. Oh my God. You guys are working on some weird shit in the background. Yeah, Rob, we don't get into power consumption for, all these servers and stuff like that with DC power and cost of HVAC to keep them cool, cost of racks to put them in, cost of batteries to support them in case of power outages, cost of generators to support them in case of power outages. It is fucking insane. Yeah, I'm watching the weirdos in some of my group chats working on some stuff that's going to be yeah. I don't know what you guys are doing in there. I'll have to check it out later. But yeah, how much power an email takes to send is fucking unreal. Make cell phone usage better instead of iPhone here, everything else there. Well, it's less about iPhone, more about carriers. So Aldebaran, everything's got to have a backup and it's got to have redundancy. So it's DC power. Let's say every router has got 2 power sources, right? So you have 2 different power fuse panels with different inputs of power. So you're one. Okay, this is how a general data center is set up. Let's say you have one router. That one router has 2 or 4 power inputs. So let's just say 2 to make it easy. Of those 2 power inputs, they come from 2 different fuse panels. those two fuse panels have two different power feeds, an A and a B feed. Then that A and B feed is also hooked into two separate power strings or battery strings as a interruption protection until the generator can kick in. And there's one, but there will usually only be one generator for all of that. And that's not getting into how the traffic is routed diversely and different equipment and different cards to make sure that there's no outages. It's a fucking, it's fun. Let's put it that way. All right, good night, CK. Good night, anybody else who's left off. We're down to 21 people. So, all right, so there's telecom in a nutshell. Merry Christmas. I hope you found that interesting. And if you didn't, well, hopefully you found primary water interesting. And hopefully you found all that other derp that we went over interesting. There was a lot of, like I said, I had no plans to do any of this tonight. So the fact I did is like kind of threw it together quickly. But, oh, look at this. I was supposed to be on there for 2 hours and we're up to almost 4. You guys like distracting me. Let's see. What are some plans for the channel for patches and challenge coins? Went over some collabs. Went over some what's in the hopper. What we're looking at doing going forward. And how I still need more monitors. So, but yeah, if you didn't smash that like button on the way out, we'll go ahead and, yeah, us old IT farts geek and like Rob and Sig and stuff like that. Yeah, it's like I've been in telecom over 25 years and I've watched things go from a T1, which is 24 voice channels, 64K each with modems, let's say, be the standard order on the enterprise size for businesses. To now we do 400 gig to IBM, SpaceX, and other customers. Like it's baffling how much technology has changed in 25 years. And that's before we get even into things like cell phone towers versus small cells and what they're used for and how they connect and how they alleviate some of the data traffic from the larger cell towers, which specializes more in the voice traffic and stuff like that. I mean, cell phones, 5G, 6G is leaps and bounds from the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, I had a Nextel for the longest time, so you had to push to talk. So it was like half radio, walkie-talkie that hardly connected, and half phone. But you could drop it from a second story, the battery would dislocate from it. You could put the battery back on, power it back on, and act like nothing happened. A lot different than what it is today. Rob, it was a pleasure. Aldebaran, this was before they had flip phones. Is when they had the Nextels. But I did have a flip phone too. Rob, as I was saying, good night. Always a pleasure to see you. Thanks for being here and hanging out and also providing some content to talk about. So thank you. But actually, since it's 12:45 a.m. here, and I have an 8:30 meeting that's in less than 8 hours, and I still have to go walk the dog again, and get ready for bed and do all that fun stuff, you know, before my morning routine so I can look presentable. Yeah, Aldebaran, I had the large. All right, hold on. Let's do a side thing real quick. Let's do one quick tangent. I'm going to bring this across. Let me think. I want to find like the Nextel I had because all right. So there was two of them. There was what we called the brick because it literally was a fucking brick. And then they came out with the brand new flip ones. And the flip ones, you would break the flip because you were pressing into your ear so hard because you're used to using the bricks where you couldn't hear anything. All right, hold on. Let me. Yes, this is it. The comical part of this. So, here's the phone I started with when I was in telecom. It had a double battery, which means it was a little thicker than this because this is just a single battery. You couldn't fit that in your pocket. Yeah, the bag phones were fun for the cars too. But yeah, this was like the first or second generation of the Nextels that came out. And then the next generation from this brick, as we called it, was this. Nope, not that one. Hold on. Do. Was this. This was the next generation of Nextels. So you went from the brick to this that actually fit in your pocket, but you would break the hinge because you would have to press it in your ear to hear, and you'd end up breaking the hinge. I broke a fair amount of those. I basically got handed a brick says you are not upgrading. You're not allowed to upgrade anymore. Yeah, we had the Motorola's and Nokia's. The Nokia's were one up. The Motorola bricks were like entry level. Yeah, the antenna phone. You know how many of those antennas had bite marks around them too, by the way? Because the first thing you did is when you grabbed your phone, you put the antenna in your mouth, pulled the antenna out, and flipped it with your thumb and put it to your ear. So the yellow ones were the very next generation because we ended up getting those for the new guys. I had the old black, gray colored brick. And the Nextel flip was like the worst. That thing you could break just looking at it. It was such crap. But the Nextels were great because if you couldn't get someone on the phone, you could get them on the walkie-talkie part and the push-to-talk. Maybe. Because then you would just hit the button to beep them and see if they'd answer. Or if they didn't answer right away, you would send them an alert. And the alert would just constantly beep until they answered it or turned it off. Which was great when you're working late and when your coworkers are at home sleeping and you want to annoy them. Yeah, I miss those bricks. They were a different sort. All right, I'm gonna go to bed. I think it's about that time. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for having fun. And thank you for listening to Primary Water and why it's a scam and why people like Vlad from Ironwork 92,000. It's Cogdis straight across the board. It's someone fighting the man, so therefore whatever they say is true. It's gospel without ever using an ounce of discernment or critical thinking to figure out why it doesn't work. Go fucking figure. A flat earther or a conspiracist who does not do research. I know it's fucking crazy to think that that happens sometimes, right? I mean, who would have thought? Except every one of us who has been part of this community for anything longer than a month. All right. Let's go out with a song. Because the other reason why I'm cutting this short is because I need another nature break. So I might as well just make it part of my nightly routine. So, yeah. Let's see. Do we want to do punk? Do we want to do blues? Or do we want to do yo-ho? First answer. Blues. Sig got the answer in. All right, here we go. All right, guys, thanks for being in the stream. Thanks for being here, and thanks for hanging out with me. I'll catch you guys later.
Unfornicated, he don't fall for tricks. Wading through the cyberspace, dodging all the clicks. Lies wrapped up in candy glitz. It's a devil's pact. He fights back with truth attacks, keeps his mind intact. Scrolling through the madness, truth hides in plain sight. Unfornicated stands tall in digital fight. Clouds peddle poison wrapped in colorful disguise. Yet he battles on revealing all their lies. Whispers in the echo chamber trying to break his will, but he's got a heart that's stubborn, packed with iron and steel. Got no time for shadow games or their tangled snare. Yeah. Unfornicated, blazing through the web with light. Scrolling through the madness, truth hides in plain sight. Unfornicated stands tall in digital fight. Clowns peddle poison wrapped in colorful disguise. Yet he battles on revealing all their lies. They think they've got him cornered, lost in endless posts, but he shatters all the mirrors, crushes all their boasts. Deception drones, they crumble in the light he brings. Unfornicated conquers, every scheme takes sway. In a world where falsehoods flourish, he stands his own ground. With wisdom as his armor, he's silenced to their sound. Social media battleground filled with smoke and din. Unfornicated holds the line, never lets them win.
with the camera in hand. A digital storm talks of the Navy days, the oceans roar. Now he's chasing secrets can't ignore. Conspiracy threats on his midnight screen, living loud, chasing that unseen dream. He took the dive with his heart unshaken. Now he's unfornicated, never mistaken. From the Navy decks to the YouTube stage, he flips the script, writes a brand new page, talking about shadowed men, whispered schemes, turning chaos into clicks, chasing wild dreams. Conspiracy threats on his midnight screen, living loud, chasing that unseen dream. He took the dive with his heart unshaken. Now he's unfornicated, never mistaken. They said, salute, keep it under control. But he found the truth in his wandering soul. A sailor turned sleuth, an internet fight, cutting through the dark with his lens as his light. Unfornicated, his voice runs wild, exposing the shadows the world beguiled. From sea to screen with a rebel shout, in a world of doubt, he's calling them out.
Wait, why are you guys still here? Go. It's over. Hit rewind, start over from the beginning, and then catch up now. Good night.